My lip starts to shake. How does she know who I am? And why does she give a damn about me? Sing, come on, come on, come on. I got 2 tickets to Iron Maiden, maybe. Come with me Friday, don't say maybe. I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby like you. No, I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby like you.
Welcome to the Virtual Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for Middle Class Film Class. Please welcome to your screen, Middle Class Film Class.
Hello, classmates, and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class Gab and Chatter Edition for Saturday, October 29th, 2022. I'm your host for today, Ned Flanders.
I'm Gandalf.
And I'm an home invader.
On this episode, Shelley Duvall is back on the silver, shining screen. John Carpenter doesn't care about reboots. Plus, Alexander Skarsgård behind the camera for the first time. James Gunn abandons Marvel, and Weird Al's biopic, now with no truth. Well, happy Halloween, guys.
Happy
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
We're here. We did it.
Yes.
Another Halloween in the bag.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
And this episode will be releasing on Halloween.
That's right.
That was what they used to call me. Gandalf the Grey.
Yes.
Wait,
That's what they used to call it.
Halloween is on a Monday, right?
Yeah.
So when I was younger,
Mhm.
when Halloween would come on a school day or work day, I would always just, not. I
You
wouldn't
would not.
appreciate it. Like I would just be like, oh, okay, come on, like a Halloween on like a Monday or a Tuesday, like how dare you?
There's a movement that people are trying to change Halloween to the last Saturday of October.
Is that right?
Just
Yeah.
how the last Thursday of November is Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think so too.
But
So
Then again, who cares for the kids? The kids, they go trick or treating at like 7:00. It could be a weeknight for them.
yeah.
But
yeah.
plus, on a weeknight, they can go dress up in costume to school.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you guys this: do you leave candy on the porch for trick or treaters, or do you greet the trick or treaters?
I absolutely greet them.
Neither.
Neither.
Fuck them kids.
Oh my god,
That's
Joseph.
socialism, Tyler.
Well, so since I've been living in Midtown for I would say like more than a fortnight, I usually
2 weeks.
More than 2 weeks.
yeah, more than 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it is more than 2 weeks.
That's,
I mean,
it's
you're not
technically-
wrong.
Yeah.
God, this...
What do you dressed up, by the way, Tyler?
Okay, so I mean,
Harry?
so for our audio listeners, I am dressed as a home invader. I wanted to go as a scary dress up.
A scary dress up.
Yeah,
It's called a costume.
Yeah.
I wanted to go.
Are you okay, Tyler? Are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I wanted to go as a scary dress up sort of person, and
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and I am a home invader. What's more scarier? What's more?
That's Marv, the best scream in the business.
What's more scarier than a home invader?
The Wet Bandits, Harry. The Wet Bandits.
There's no. So you think there's nothing scarier than a home invader?
That's a witch. A witch would be probably
And a
A witch. What about a witch home invader?
Or something that's like
a witch home invader.
something that's like more based in reality.
No, yeah, home invader is the most
It's
scariest.
the pinnacle
thing.
of scary.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Can you imagine like someone kicking down your door and
It
like,
does seem terrifying.
Yeah.
It has happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I-
actually, it
twice.
just happens to Nancy Pelosi's house like
Oh yes.
2 days ago or
Oh
something like that.
yeah, her
Ugh,
husband
terrible.
got
Little bad taste, Tyler. Gotta say.
I know.
okay.
It's too late for you, kid. We're already in the house. We're gonna get you.
That's what they said to Nancy Pelosi's husband. Son of a bitch. Tyler, that's uncouth. Uncouth. So if you haven't figured out already, we're all in full costume. It is our Halloween episode, and we're streaming live on Stab Comedy. Twitch.tv/Stab Comedy. If you don't watch our streams, you're missing out. It's a lot of fun. Get in the chat. You can talk to us. We have Digital DeQuinley in the house, in the chat. He's
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
he's the
right.
one. He's our
Nice.
our Twitch stan.
Welcome.
Yeah, what's up,
Digital
dude?
DeQuinley.
Yeah, look in the show notes. We have links to the live VOD of this entire stream, so you can watch it later and see our beautiful costumes and Tyler.
Why and Tyler?
All right,
And Tyler with the ski mask.
enough with that. Let's get to some Gab and Chatter.
Find some character in you, lad. Now's the time for Gab and Chatter.
Yes, Gab and Chatter. Movie news for the week. Joseph, what do you have?
Well, I can't keep holding this staff.
Yeah, you could de-staff yourself.
A wizard's got to put down his staff sometime.
Yes.
Can't keep staffing it
One
up.
ring to rule them all.
Yeah.
and all that.
Those damn hobbits.
Yeah.
Well,
Bring yourself in next time and rid us of your stupidity.
I'm off gallivanting for 17 years trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Hobbits are just in there
Fool of a took.
throwing that fucking stuff up.
Yeah. Goddamn hobbits. I love them so much, but they can be real shit sometimes. Little shits. Okay, so movie news. I got one thing kind of surprising and maybe heartwarming to some people.
Yeah.
The wholesome and maybe poorly mistreated by Stanley Kubrick, Shelley Duvall, actress Shelley Duvall, is returning to the movies after a 20-year hiatus.
That's cool.
With a specific project called The Forest Hills.
My grandpa lives there.
Yeah, The Forest Hills. Yeah.
The Forest Hills, California.
Yeah, a movie called The Forest Hills, directed by Scott Goldberg, who I don't know who that is. Basically, the movie is centered on a guy named Rico, a disturbed man who's plagued with nightmare visions after enduring head trauma while camping in the Catskill Mountains, as Deadline reported. The cast also includes Edward Furlong and Dee Wallace.
Oh, that's cool.
Shelley Duvall will play the main character's mother, who serves as his inner voice. I think this is from the director. We are huge fans of The Shining, and it's honestly one of my favorite horror movies of all time, up there with John Carpenter's Halloween and Romero's Day of the Dead, with the dark tones they delivered in the movies, along with perfect scores and elements that make them my personal favorites, Goldberg said of Duvall's casting. Shelley contributed to The Shining being an absolute masterpiece by giving her all and performing in a way that really showcased the fear and horror of a mother in isolation.
Okay.
So it wasn't olive oil.
So she,
I was going to say, I'd only know her from two things, olive oil and Mrs. Torrance.
Yeah.
So she's doing the Winona Ryder gig
What's
with
that?
Stranger Things. How Winona Ryder before Stranger Things, like she was kind of like unknown, and then she kind of got I wouldn't say blacklisted, but
after all those home invasions, she
no, it wasn't.
Writings on the wall.
It wasn't home invasions. She was shoplifting.
well, same thing, just in a store.
There was the Winona Ryder. Oh yeah, you're right. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
It was more of a store invasion.
Yeah,
store invasion.
She did some theft.
She was a kleptomaniac, apparently.
Yeah.
And she was sort of
Shelley Duvall,
exiled, shunned aside for a little bit.
and then Shelley Duvall is now gonna do the same thing with what Winona Ryder did. And
Wait a second. Joseph's mom is in the chat.
what?
Yes.
Is she really?
Yes, she is. Hi.
Hello,
We
mother.
got a lot of paternal.
Okay, don't cuss, please.
Oh,
We'll
fuck.
we'll keep it clean. We'll keep it clean.
I cannot abide by that.
All these freaking dang kleptomaniacs.
Have you seen Duvall? But,
Yes, there's a picture of her right now.
Oh.
Okay,
Like,
so
she
Life is-
looks-
Let me
finish my story, goddammit.
All right, go.
Shelley
on.
Duvall
Go ahead,
exited
go
public
ahead.
life decades ago, notoriously appearing in 2016 on Dr. Phil, where she said she was very sick and needed mental health support.
She was on Dr. Phil. Oh my
In 2016, apparently.
God, that poor.
And in
poor
2021,
woman.
she gave a wide-ranging interview to the Hollywood Reporter, seeming lively and content with her life outside of the limelight in Texas. She won the Peabody Award, the Cannes Film Festival Prize for Best Actress, 2 Emmy nominations, and a BAFTA nomination for her work with Robert Altman in Brewster McCloud, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, Nashville, Three Women, and Popeye, and more films like Annie Hall, Roxanne, of course, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. She also landed a Razzie Award for Worst Actress in The Shining.
Yeah.
What?
The Shining was loaded with Razzies.
Yeah, it's so strange. The movie is like, it's on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like it went in its day. It was panned, just like Hollywood Ends, and it will be a classic, just like Hollywood Ends.
yes.
You think so?
I don't know about classic, but I have something to say about Halloween 3 season of The Witch later in the show.
We
Oh,
wouldn't
really?
have one of the best Treehouse of Horrors from The Simpsons.
Yeah,
if
really.
it weren't for
That's
the
such a good
Shining.
treehouse. So that's
But,
great, though. I'm
but, yeah.
excited to see her come back.
Shelley Duvall is back in action.
I love it.
Can't wait for the documentary. Shelley Duvall back in action.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad she's
Now that's that
finding
Brendan
work.
Fraser Space Jam spinoff.
Oh, the Looney Tunes
Back in action.
back in action anthology sequel to
Yeah.
Space Jam.
I get like Brendan Fraser vibes from her. Like she seems very wholesome, and like life has already like,
Mhm.
fucked her up real bad, and now she's coming back triumphantly, and the crowds, they're behind her. Like we want to see Shelley Duvall succeed, just like we want to see
Oh, yeah.
the Brendan succeed.
I mean that's been a long-standing sort of ovation, not ovation, but a lot of people wanted to see Shelley Duvall succeed because of her performance
Mhm.
in The Shining.
Well, it's funny. It's like most casuals, which I would probably consider myself a casual when it comes to like 70s cinema, maybe even 80s cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know her from much of anything besides The Shining, and she had a huge pedigree after that. But Robert Altman, a number of projects that she's had with him, and apparently those are way better than like her performances in there are much better than even The Shining. So
Yeah.
we will see. Anything
All right.
else?
No,
Anything?
that is it.
All right, Tyler, what do you got?
Oh wow.
By the way, before we get to your news story, I'll stall a little bit for you. Joel's in the chat, friend of the show, Joel Shinneman.
Okay.
That Smashy's hot steel forge. He makes iron from scratch goods, which I bought a couple of them. They're very, very good. I have my coffee scoops from him. He says the only reason Tyler is a home invader is his desire to invade bathrooms, public restrooms.
Well, that you know what? He's not far off. Like I do like I have a perverse sort of feeling to go into people's personal belongings and like look like photo albums. You know, like it's not criminal. It's just like I just want to know.
I don't know. I think it is criminal.
Well, I mean,
You're dressed
like,
as a criminal.
I know.
Just so you know.
Ironically, you are dressed as a.
I mean, okay.
Kevman in the chat said, "Glad Tyler put in the effort this week."
Put in the effort. How dare you, Kevin?
I've been working literally for 3 months for this mustache. This Flanders mustache.
Oh, and it's great too. It's
All right.
very, very great.
What's your story?
So, Alexander Skarsgård is going to direct and co-star with Florence Pugh in a wilderness thriller called The Pack. Coming off the blood-pumping Viking epic The Northman from Robert Eggers, of course.
That was such a fedora thing. I just gotta say.
What?
But then what you just said, Robert Eggers, of course. It was such a.
What do you mean? How is that a fedora thing?
Actually, the greatest director of our time, of course.
He is. I will fight any man that.
What do you got under that ski mask, huh? A neck beard?
Under that mask is another fedora.
No, I do need to shave. Though.
So what's this project called?
So it's called The Pack, and so he is teaming up with Florence Pugh, or
Yeah, there you go.
Florence Pugh.
There
Sorry,
you go.
sorry,
The mask.
Florence Pugh.
There you go.
Sorry, the mask is. God
Just
damn.
imagine how hard it would have been if you
Like,
had the
it's-
Halloween mask on
I-
that you wanted to do originally.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would have been really bad. So Florence Pugh and Alexander Skarsgård are going to be making a movie called The Pack, and it's going to be about a. Hold on, let me see.
He's finding out right now.
No. It's a long article, so I apologize.
There's a feature on your phone. It's a screenshot. You can you can highlight. It's like it's got an option right there, so you can highlight it in the screenshot before you save it. It's great.
I know. I'm sorry.
You're holding a multi.
Bye, Mom. It says bye.
Bye.
Can I finish?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So it follows a group of documentarians who brave the remote wilderness of Alaska in an effort to save a nearly extinct species of wolves. Tensions flare when the crew is brought back together at a. Sorry, my eyes. The mask is really like fucking with my.
I can't see
vision right
fucking shit
now.
out of this thing.
No one's arguing that the masks were a good.
No,
it was a good effort.
I'm sorry. You know what? gotta.
Wear your glasses.
Oh, okay, so now you're not even gonna wear this
I-
so-called costume.
No, I literally can't see with this mask on. I'm sorry. So tensions flare when the crew is brought back together at a prestigious awards ceremony as the truth threatens to unravel their work. So essentially, God damn it, this stupid mask. God,
Take your time.
why do we have to do the masks?
You don't have to do the mask. You can put in no effort. if you
Neither of
want.
us are not wearing.
No,
masks.
I am. I just. Okay, so I know the story. I'm not
It's good. Yeah.
unprepared. It just-
Alexander Skarsgård's directing a movie. It's called The Pack. It's about wolves.
Yeah, it's about a very rare species of wolves that these documentarians are filming.
And what happens?
then-
They get attacked by the wolves.
Well, so essentially, what happens is like after they film the wolves, something bad happens.
Okay.
So it's a little bit it's how do I say this? It's a little bit interesting how it's kind of worded because they film the wolves and they film the
Like actual
the-
wolves?
Yeah, like the rare species of wolves, and then they're done, and then something bad happens. So I'm wondering if it's going to be like a political sort of thing, or is it going to be?
Sounds like The Gray.
No, it's not. It's nothing like the Gray because they're not getting killed by the wolves.
How do
It's-
you know? You have no idea.
Well,
The movie hasn't come out yet.
well,
The
that's
story.
true,
The
too.
story is it's Alexander Skarsgård's first movie. That's exciting. I'll watch it. Anything else exciting on that story?
Is he gonna be in it as well?
Yeah, he's starring him.
Yeah,
him
he's starring and directing.
Oh,
and
okay.
Pew.
Yeah,
And Pew.
sorry, my
Skarsgård and Pew.
hair is getting in my eyes. I
Can't do much
apologize.
home
What-
invading when
what's-
you have problems like that.
Joel says, "Imagine how hard it would be to read a stranger's photo album in that thing." Tyler, take your mask off. I'm
No,
making. I'm making the executive decision now. Take your mask off.
All right, that's
You can't even
actually-
function.
No, that's actually. I can't because the mask is getting my eyes. Like it's messing with me.
Okay. What's your next
All
story?
right, I'm sorry. Okay, so I think the headline is being Alexander Skarsgård being a director is pretty interesting
Yeah.
because just having him coming off of the Northman or the Northman
Yeah, Northman.
Northman.
Yeah. What's your next story, Tyler?
So
we got it. Alexander Skarsgård direct a movie.
Directorial debut.
We will follow that. It
Alexander
will,
Skarsgård.
should be interesting.
Okay.
What's the next one?
John Carpenter isn't worried about Halloween remakes affecting his legacy. He quotes on saying, "I really don't care." And so this is kind of like a more of a discussion sort of
Okay.
topic.
Why should he
I-
care?
Exactly. Why should he care?
I don't think he should at all. It's great. I love it. I love
Yeah.
I love the not fuckery of it. He doesn't care.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
So Carpenter goes on saying, "I don't care." Carpenter said when asked about the franchise legacy, and then he goes on to quoting to saying, I really don't care. The filmmaker explained that despite creating Michael Myers, he doesn't feel much ownership over the films featuring the iconic slasher villain, which that makes sense too because he didn't intend to have Halloween being about Michael Myers.
Yeah, it was, it was
we've
supposed to be
discussed on the
different
show.
stories taking place on Halloween night, not necessarily about Mike Myers.
Right. So he goes on to saying, the Halloween movie I love the most is the one that I made in 1978. The one I directed. he just had to say
Yeah, the one that I made. That's the best one.
he just had to say he had to say the one I directed.
John Carpenter is a boss. Like I remember him. I saw an interview with him where he was like a press junket or something like that, and somebody asked him, it essentially asked him like why one of his movies sucked, and he just said, "Fuck you, dude." He flipped the guy off and told him to fuck off. I'm like, he's 70 something years old. I'm like, yeah, what a boss.
Yeah.
I don't think John Carpenter cares about much in this life.
I don't think so either, because he goes on to saying that's what happens when you give up. I didn't.
What? What's what happens when you give up?
It's when he gave up because he was like, okay, so I'm just going to
let it go. I can't control the sequels.
So he didn't.
Exactly,
He only
yeah.
directed the first one. He didn't direct any of the ones.
I think he
I thought he-
directed the second one. But anyways, so he's saying like, I didn't want to direct sequels. I didn't think there was story left. Boy, was I wrong, huh? And that is a direct quote.
All right.
Okay.
So, while Carpenter appreciates the money he receives when people remakes his films, he doesn't spend much thinking about the quality of those remakes.
Right.
So he doesn't. So basically, like what I'm getting from the story is like he created a movie, and then he basically gave the reins to Hollywood. Just like, okay, like you can.
Well, it's like
do.
Steven Spielberg too. He made Jurassic Park, not his story, but John Crichton,
The book.
the book. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not his
yeah.
story, but Steven Spielberg made a hit, and like all the other sequels from it. I think he had some involvement in the second one. I think
Producing.
producing, and
Yeah.
he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I'm sure I'm cashing tons of checks off of all these shitty sequels, Jurassic World Domination, or whatever.
Oh, the Dominion trilogy.
yeah, all that
Dominion,
stuff. He's
yeah.
getting just buku royalties for all that shit.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't affect him at all. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what John Carpenter thinks.
And,
Like he's just like
Producer Justice just sent me a message and said, just the Hollywood, or just Halloween, just the first one is all he directed.
Oh, okay.
None of the sequels, not number 2, not nothing.
Oh, we still have a producer.
Yeah, Producer Justice, he's right downstairs.
Yeah, he's on. He's watching. He's keeping track of our what our slip ups and stuff, and correcting us. Via
He's telling
DM.
Tyler to move on.
All right. Well, well, before I move on, though,
Okay.
I just want to commend John Carpenter for him.
Not giving a frick.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because it's like, why, like, you make this iconic movie, and then you just give the reins to
Mhm.
the ether of Hollywood.
Yeah. I made my
And-
piece. Now do with what you will.
Exactly.
Tyler's mom's in the chat.
Oh, is she really?
I clicked the link on the Facebook link to see Tyler in a mask, and this is what I get. Says Tyler's mom.
Well, Jamie, local billionaire Jamie Campos Miners, he could not, he couldn't even bother to like get a hairpin and pin his hair back. So his hair was in his eyes.
Yeah, it was. Well, no, the mask was.
And the hair's coming out of your eye holes are irritating.
Yeah, I can't do the show with the mask on.
Maybe you should have picked a different costume that you could do the show with.
Yeah, I guess that's.
You got 12 months till the next time. All right. I'm trusting it's gonna be better next time. All right, you good?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my news stories.
Okay, so I got a big shocker in the cinematic DC universe. I actually have a little bumper intro for MCU news provided by Bruce Perky, huge fan.
MCU.
Thank you, Bruce, for that.
Wait, when did he say that?
Passionate. It's on his show. Find your film. He pulled a clip from his show to make a clip on our show. So
Both Tyler's father figure and mom are in the chat.
oh, he is the father.
Oh.
You are the father. That's awesome. What's up, Daryl? How you doing, buddy? Okay, so this is a big shakeup in the DC Marvel cinematic universe. James Gunn is the director of Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was famously booted off of the Guardians of the Galaxy, I think 3
And then rehired.
project, and then rehired due to some like tasteless old shitty jokes he made when he was like 22 years old or something like that. In Groundlings or something.
Yeah.
And so now, and James Gunn is also the writer, producer, director of a lot of like the Suicide Squad, the Superior Suicide Squad movie.
Oh yeah, that
He's
was
also
a great film.
Also a showrunner what is John Cena, Peacemaker.
Yes.
Fantastic, fantastic
Peacemaker,
show,
yeah.
Peacemaker. So everybody who knows James Gunn and follows this project knows he's got a very specific voice, very specific comedy style, and that kind of fits in with the Marvel universe. Like they're moving towards kind of a clever, quirky, sort of fun comedy style, a la Taika Waititi and Thor Ragnarok, Thor: Love and Thunder. But he's being snatched out of the grips of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he's now CEO, co-CEO of the DC Studios.
Really?
CEO,
Whoa.
not directing, CEO, co-director with David Zaslav, who was pivotal in the Conjuring universe.
Oh.
So, very, very strange. This is like kind of out of left field. And,
Yeah.
And Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is still releasing under the Marvel moniker, because it's a Marvel property, obviously, and he is the director. It's already wrapped. It's done.
Yeah.
So it will be released as a James Gunn project. It'll be really interesting to see if they maybe scale back the promotions a little bit for that project.
Mhm.
You know, try to not give it a whole lot of credence. It's like, I wonder how much the money really means to Disney, which I'm pretty sure it's everything. So, but very strange. He's now in the DC universe, and he's already commented that he wants to bring back Henry Cavill's Superman project, and he wants to bring back Zack Snyder into the fold.
And isn't Henry Cavill already confirmed himself, didn't he?
Yeah, he said he wants it. He wants it to happen, and he basically said, "God willing, I'll make it happen." And by Tyler's own admission, Superman superfan Tyler
That's not
says
no.
that
BVS.
that Henry Cavill is the superior Superman.
Well, I agree with that.
So you are a superfan.
However, I don't think Zack Snyder should be involved.
They didn't say that Zack Snyder is going to be involved with the Superman project. It's just, I think there's talks that he may be brought back into the fold. So that is really interesting. I don't want to speculate about a whole lot, but it was just kind of like, that's a bombshell. I feel like James Gunn is one of the most influential and creative and unique voices in like sci-fi kind of dirty humor, you know?
Mhm.
He's got Slither. He's got
You mentioned Slither.
Slither. Yeah. You love Slither. You know Slither.
Of
It's
great.
great.
I do.
He's
Of course
fantastic.
I do. I think I had a DVD of that at one point in my life.
Super. Yeah.
Slither, Super.
And
But he didn't do Kick-Ass.
No, he didn't do Kick-Ass.
No.
Seems like it would be something he would.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Super
Yeah.
was the other version of Kick-Ass.
Correct. They came out right around the same time.
Yeah.
Really, really exciting to see him like taking the reins. And I wonder, like, as CEO, how involved he would be with co-CEO, how involved he would be with like individual projects.
Co-CEO.
Yeah, with David Zaslav.
How do you
Zaslav.
do that? Like a
I mean,
co-CEO?
Who even knows what a CEO does, anyways?
Yeah, exactly. So like I feel like James Gunn is more he should be more in the talent rather than a business side. Right? Like
I don't know. I mean, that's the interesting thing is he's been in the creative side and he's been on like the production side. Now he's running the
Yeah.
show on like a high level. So I don't really know what that's going, but it's kind of interesting because like Marvel has like one universe and DC has multiple like creative universes. It has like the Joker series, which doesn't tie into anything else.
oh yeah.
It's got like the Batman movie, which like now that it's Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves Batman, like that doesn't seem to tie into anything else. It has a completely different feel from everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're gonna
multifaceted.
I wonder if he's gonna try to like wrangle it down to one cohesive
Universe.
DC universe. So everybody knows about the MCU, but the DCEU extended universe, they had to put an extra fucking letter in there.
Yeah.
An extra acronym.
The DC
It's extended. Yeah,
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's kind of exciting. And then there is just a funny little quote that I read from the director of Weird, the new Weird Al movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
you
yeah,
guys
with
heard about this?
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe and Weird Al Yankovic.
So it's called Weird: The Al Yankovic Story, coming to Roku. It's a Roku original.
Yes.
And yes, I am sponsored by Roku. Yes, they are paying me oodles of Rokus. But it says, if you look at the synopsis on IMDb, it says, the unexaggerated true story about the greatest musician of our time. From a conventional upbringing where playing the accordion was a sin, Weird Al Yankovic rebels and makes his dream of changing the world to world-renowned songs come true. An instant success and sex symbol. Al lives an excessive lifestyle that pursues an infamous romance that nearly destroys him. And that first line, the unexaggerated true story,
Yes.
which is 100% contradictory to what the director, Eric Appel, Appel, A-P-P-E-L, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Appel.
Eric Appel says he guarantees that there was not one bit of research done to ensure that any of it is true.
What?
So he went to the Taika Waititi route with Hitler and
Exactly.
did zero research.
Exactly. No research. And he basically just said, we're going to make this story whatever we want.
Yeah.
And Al signed off on it and said, yeah, sure, go for it.
I mean, it's essentially it's ironic because a parody. It could be a parody of
Yeah, it's a
a
parody
guy
of,
who makes parodies.
of his life.
Yeah.
So, how do you guys feel about the Weird Al movie?
I'm excited
And
for
Weird
it.
Al in general.
Weird Al. I mean, I don't really listen to like any of his stuff now, but like when I was a lot younger, I would like listen to a bunch of stuff. Maybe like watch some of his music videos. When he came out with that fucking that white rap song.
Oh, White and Nerdy.
White and Nerdy. Yes, that was a
Yeah.
my generation like
Yeah.
freshman in high school type music. Like,
Amish Paradise.
yeah,
Amish
Paradise.
Paradise
Oh
was
yeah, Amish
the
Paradise.
best.
Yeah, that music video is
Eat It.
incredible.
Yep, Eat It's good.
Yeah, Eat
Fat.
It's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm fat. I'm really, really
I mean-
fat.
Like if he has a compelling story for his upbringing into success in show business, then I'll be curious.
Well, his story,
to
we just said the story is not true at all.
that's what I was.
So is
gonna
that
follow-
are you
that's
compelling?
what-
Is that still compelling to you?
so that was I was gonna follow up on. I was just like, well, I mean, it's like if it's not like true, it's kind of like in a Weird Al fashion. Like it's a
Interesting.
Weird Al movie.
Yeah, interesting.
Almost like it's a parody of a guy that it's parodied.
Like he's
Where have I heard that before?
I'm getting deja vu right now.
So I mean, it could be good.
What's your thought on Weird Al, Tyler?
Like, how do you feel about
Um,
Weird Al as a musician?
I think he's a very talented musician, but I don't know. Like he's okay. Like
Well, obviously, it's
it's-
not everybody's type of humor or every type of music genre you want to listen to.
yeah, I mean, I think he's funny, but what?
Sorry, smashy. Just put in the chat. You know it's hot out too.
Where's
I
that?
think-
Where's that drop?
Oh boy.
No, I think he's a really funny guy. I just think that having a whole like movie based on him might be a little bit too much.
I'm so disappointed. I've never been more disappointed in you, and there's been a lot of times I've been disappointed in you.
Oh my God, yeah.
Today is the worst.
I mean,
Weird Al
it's-
is a absolute genius. He toes the line between like super funny and super wholesome at the same time. Like none of his stuff you would feel ashamed listening to in front of your parents, your grandparents, your clergy. You know, it's
Oh, that's not true at all.
absolutely it is.
It's not true at all. I would never play Weird Al in front of my
Why?
in front of my parents.
Jamie in the
No.
chat, say something. Say
Well, she said she's not a fan. So
she's not a fan either.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
Daryl, save us.
No,
Daryl's got good taste.
See-
He likes Prince, so he
Oh
probably
yeah,
likes
he's
Weird
a
Al.
huge fan of Prince. A huge fan of Prince.
Jamie's rolling her eyes in the chat.
No, she did
Um,
not.
She is. She says I roll.
She did not say that.
Yes, she did. I'm looking
Mom.
at it right now.
Ma, how dare you?
I think she's agreeing with you. You should.
No, she's agreeing with you, Tyler.
Yeah,
not
she's
a
agreeing
fan.
with you.
Oh, she's agreeing with me. Okay. Well, see, yeah,
And
yeah,
that-
we're cut
on
from
that
the same cloth.
Yeah, well,
so.
literally.
Except you don't hug her.
How dare you? I give her a half hug.
Fuck.
Jamie, since you're here,
No, don't.
All right, we don't have time for that. Let's get into some stream picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do. Disney Plus. Oh, HBO Max. If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found
Streaming picks, movies that we watched on our streaming services this week that you can watch on your streaming services this week. Joseph, what do you got?
I got a couple streaming picks, and it is Halloween, so I was in the theme of Halloween. So I watched a newly released movie on Shudder called it is a one of the franchise, the VHS franchise.
Oh, cool.
VHS 99. It is streaming on Shudder. Basically, if you don't know what the VHS franchise is, it's like 5 movies now that, in each of those movies are like 4 or 5 short films.
Yeah, it's an anthology.
And there's sort of like one sort of like in between short film that's kind of carrying the rest of it. That's
like
kind of the transition between one to the next.
Interstitial.
Yes. And this one was pretty funny. The interstitial on this 99 was pretty good.
I like that. Yeah, it was good.
And in VHS 99, so when you're stream picking this movie, it's like there's a bunch of different movies within it. I will say that the movies in VHS 99 get progressively better as they go along. With my favorite being the kids game show a la Double Dare or Legend of the Hidden Temple, starring one voice actor who played Trevor from GTA 5 as the game show host.
Is that really him?
That's him.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yes. And it is a game show, a kids game show, like I said, a la Double Dare, those old like Nickelodeon Get Slime type of obstacle course game shows, where it's a kid against kid, like one kid against another kid, and then something horrible happens to one kid, suffers a broken leg or something.
God, that's rough.
And then the game show host is like this slimy, grimy, like very spray tan looking guy who looks like he's only in it for the money, right? Yeah. So
does not care about the kids.
It's almost like
Fuck them kids.
It's like yeah, as I said earlier, like them kids. It's like almost like a revenge story, kind of. It turns into that. The mother of that child wants revenge or justice for her child who suffers a broken leg and then has is in a wheelchair after that.
Mhm.
But it takes it takes a turn there, and then it takes another crazy fucking turn that was awesome and great and wacky and and gross. But I definitely would recommend that if that was a standalone, but it is within an anthology. I will say the first 2 short films of that VHS 99 are okay. They're not like super good. They definitely lean more into the campy side of
and the first one was like super shaky cam. Like,
yes.
You couldn't tell half the shit that was saying.
Yeah, most of them are like.
Did you watch it too, Tyler?
Yeah, no, not the newest VHS, but I have watched the first 2.
Oh, we're talking about the new one, the 99.
Yeah, I haven't watched the 99
Yeah.
one yet.
I believe it's the 5th one in the series. Because there's
The
VHS,
5th one?
There's VHS, VHS 2, VHS Viral, VHS 93, and now VHS 99.
Oh my god, I had no idea.
Yes.
I only watched the first 2.
Yeah. So VHS 99 is also is really good. The last one of that series is really, really funny.
Yeah.
And like crazy.
It's really good.
2 guys making like a documentary or something on like an exorcism or something.
It's like a cult or something.
Basically, get involved in the exorcism itself and sort of get dragged to hell essentially. And so they're like found footage in hell, a la kind of like As Above, So Below a little bit.
Yeah.
Except it's a comedy.
Have you seen Drag Me to Hell?
No. But
That's solid.
I like the little side question.
Yeah, that last segment, that 4th one, is made by the husband and wife duo or brother sister duo. I'm not sure. That did Deadstream.
Oh, really?
So if you like that comedy style of that one, Deadstream is like 90 minutes of that.
Oh, Deadstream,
So
yes.
good.
Yeah.
Wait, did you watch Deadstream?
No, I haven't. But
I really like how Tyler chimes in on movies he's not seen and go, yes, that one's so good.
well, I mean, like I've heard.
It's okay
of
to
it.
just
Like,
say
I've
nothing about that movie. Like, I haven't seen that movie.
Well, I'm just contributing.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So VHS 99, I recommend, especially now. But watch it anyway, even after Halloween. So that's VHS 99 streaming on Shudder, and then my other stream pick is a movie that we briefly talked about. I don't know, last episode or 2 episodes ago. And like when we mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And so this is streaming on Tubi. This is the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Jessica Biel.
Yes.
Oh yes.
And
We've talked about it many times.
and Arlie Ermy and other people. Those are like the only 2 I can really recall, like named actors from that.
McConaughey's not in this one, right? That's the
No.
older one.
No.
No,
this
this
is
is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
This is
I believe.
the very first like remake of the original,
Yeah, that was.
and yeah, it's a good time. It's a fun kind of like grimier version, and it's gross and gruesome. Good practical effects. The nails dragging across the wall always get me.
Yeah.
And the meat hook and the salt on the open leg
Oh
wound.
yeah, I was gonna ask you about the salt.
Oh God, that's disturbing.
And but it's still pretty spooky, scary. And yeah, definitely worth a time. It's only like it's really short. It flies by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Small correction, because I was surprised on this. Jessica Biel is the 03 version.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said 13.
No.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Because there is one in 13 also.
The beginning, or
Yeah,
is that what it's
the-
called?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
There's
that
a-
was no. Wait, there's been so many remakes.
There's
of
a
this
ton of
movie.
them. Yeah.
But the 03 remake, I really like too, and I think it really captures the essence of
it
the
felt like
first Texas Chainsaw Massacre
It felt
movie.
faithful to the original.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
the opening, I guess like I don't know, first third or first quarter of the movie when they pick up the hitchhiker,
Yeah.
and then you see her trauma, and then what ultimately happens to her.
A great shot that is.
Then and then the great shot through the head, almost
it's
like
so
a
good.
fly cam going right out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like kind of like a forced perspective type thing. Seemed
Mhm.
like that's what they did. Really cool. Out the car, and then Arlia Ermy playing a fucking insane drill sergeant cop. Basically a drunk drill sergeant is essentially what he played.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's streaming on Tubi, so there is ads, but they put it in the right places. So it's like, it feels like an ad would go here.
Good. Awesome.
But yeah, those two perfectly fun movies to watch.
Great picks.
Thank
you, Gandalf. Remind
Hey,
me-
you can't come through here. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Hey, you
no.
can't come through.
Come on, man. You're not getting through.
yeah, you can't. Sorry.
All right, Tyler, what are
Right.
your streaming picks?
So I followed up on a streaming pick that was recommended to me by you guys. Over the Garden Wall.
Oh, wonderful.
Streaming on HBO Max, and yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think at first I didn't like it
Mhm.
when I was watching like the first. And for our listeners and streamers out there, this is a mini series on HBO Max. However, the first episode is very whimsical and very childlike, which, if you know me after listening to the show, I don't really like childlike stuff, but there is some really, really dark stuff going on in this show.
What was your favorite character? Because there's a lot of like multiple small little segments,
encounters and stuff.
Yeah.
So Elijah Wood's character is my favorite.
Okay.
Is my favorite because he's very much realistic and like ground to reality. Just like, oh yeah, we should probably just go to this town of these these pumpkin zombies, and oh my god, like he's so like trusting of like these like evil entities essentially. And
what about the evil entities? Which one did you like?
I like the Pumpkin Village.
Those are pretty cool. Yeah.
That was the most compelling episode that I really loved. So Over the Garden Wall, I wouldn't say that this was a specific season show. I think you could watch this anytime and it would be great. The animation is wonderful, the writing is wonderful, and also the voice acting is really great.
Yeah. Did you catch Tim Curry as Auntie Whispers?
No, I didn't.
That's Tim Curry.
That's Tim Curry?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And the pumpkin, the main pumpkin is
Giant. Yeah.
voiced by Chris Isaac, the musician.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Really great voice cast. Yeah.
I had no idea.
I'm glad you finally watched this. I'm glad it's even better on a rewatch too.
I think I might have to rewatch it. But
Well, it's only
like
100 minutes total. Right?
Yeah, it's great.
yeah, it's like
Watch it like a movie.
I think it's like 8 episodes,
So-
7.
10.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're really short though.
Yeah,
10 minute, like
did-
10.
Yeah,
11
they're like
minutes each.
they're 11-minute.
Did you watch it straight through?
No, I watched it over 2 nights.
Oh, cool.
And then I have an anti-streaming pick.
Oh, right.
okay.
Yes.
I have an anti-streaming pick. This is also streaming on HBO Max.
Okay.
Barbarian.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I hated that movie. That movie sucked so bad. I did not like Barbarian at all.
Okay.
I thought it was a mismanaged mess.
Okay.
I
haven't seen it,
We seen it
so-
yet? Okay.
It just dropped on HBO.
It did. Yeah, I
yeah,
watched
it did. I think it dropped this week or the previous week.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Barbarian is just a mismanaged mess.
Okay.
I have no idea what the story was trying to go to. Like I honestly don't know what to say about it other than just like after I watched it, I was like, what the hell did I just watch? What did I just watch? And not in a good way. Like if it was more cohesive, I probably would have appreciated it more. However, Barbarian, there was no barbarian at all.
I was waiting for a barbarian.
I was waiting for some sort of like twist, but there was no twist. So, yeah.
Why were you waiting for a twist? Is it because everyone says Going Blind? It's one of those movies.
And I did go in blind.
But you're waiting for like a twist.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with the story that was presented. Like I was thinking that there was going to be like, I mean, I don't want to get into spoilers, but
Please
like
don't. You thought there was going to be like a big twist, not a reveal, because there's definitely a reveal.
Yeah, there is a reveal, but there's not like a huge twist to like keep you into the movie. So, yeah, Barbarian is an anti-streaming pick for me.
So you didn't like about it was that you didn't like the story.
Yeah, and Justin Long's character just did not do anything for me.
All right,
so
fair enough.
So Barbarian, anti-streaming pick. Do not watch it.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start with I'm gonna go worst to first on this worst to first. So my first movie that I watched that's streaming is Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, streaming on Peacock, USA, and DirecTV. I did not like this. Not at all. I mean, it's even not even the fact, like, if you remove it from the Halloween franchise and just be like, okay, this is it's like its own thing, right? Which is how it's supposed to be, right? If I take it from Tyler's head's about to explode in that mask. It was I don't know, the character, the lead character is this guy that you don't give a fuck about, who is an asshole, actively cheating on his wife, like running around her, alcoholic, and you don't care about him at all, and he's supposed to be the protagonist.
Did you not like Creepshow?
I haven't seen Creepshow, but I watched Body Bags.
Wait, you have what?
the anthology. Let me repeat that. I have not seen Creepshow.
I don't see how one has to do with the other.
I know, it's who cares?
It's the same.
Is Creepshow done by John Carpenter?
Well, Halloween 3 is not done, Jake.
I know, but I mean, I'm trying to find some thread that Tyler's like asking me about Creepshow right now.
Because it's essentially in the same era of Halloween 3.
Okay, well,
Then you
I
might not-
was gonna say I probably don't like Creepshow then.
You have not. Okay.
No, I
okay,
have.
Go ahead.
I
Go
have
ahead.
not.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Wait, isn't Creepshow an anthology like story?
Creepshow is George A. Romero.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh, Adrian Barbeau. Maybe I will watch Creepshow. So, anyways, yeah, Halloween 3 is about some aliens or something, making robot aliens.
Yeah, it's like a
It's like the fuck. There's like a fucking.
it's like a conspiracy
Yeah.
corporate horror type stuff.
Like I'm down with the whole corporate horror thing and like, you know, fuck the corporations and this and that, but it's like at the end of the day, make it make sense, you know? It's like oh my gosh, this laser went off and there's a bunch of spiders in my head now. Where the fuck did they come from? It doesn't make sense.
Oh, the bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's a microchip. Microchips don't do that. Make it something else. Make it something fantastical.
I think it's like you really you don't live in our world.
Yeah, and I'm okay with I'm 100% on board with that. If you just make it make sense, give me that one little scene that explains why that makes sense. It's like, oh, this is an alien, mineral that goes into our thing, and with this we can, we can create matter from nothing, and we're gonna use it to fill these kids' heads with snakes and cockroaches and shit or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm cool with that. And all the people who bought these masks for these kids didn't feel that weighty ass, heavy ass medallion on the mask and be like, what is this? There's a microchip in here. Okay, I'm not gonna put this on my kid's head. It didn't make sense ultimately to me. So
it requires you to buy into a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
or to make assumptions of the viewers, the parents, and stuff like that.
It was
on society. I guess.
Sure, it was fun. It should have been a short. This should have been one of an anthology. This should have been a Tales from the Crypt or a Outer Limits or something like that, or Twilight Zone. But as it was a 90-minute movie that was too long and didn't like it. So that's my worst of the week.
So you're not recommending that?
I'm not recommending it. Well, watch it because if you haven't seen it, I hadn't seen it, and I've heard about all the hype and how people were comparing it to Halloween Ends, and there was a David Gordon Green, director of Halloween Ends, did say that it was more or less a direct homage to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. They use the same typeface on the intro. The whole trilogy can be compared to the David Gordon Green trilogy can be compared to the original 3 movies of Halloween, because the first one is more about Laurie and Michael. It's like a cat and mouse sort of thing, just like in the original or the new remake. Halloween 2 is a straight ahead slasher, just like Halloween Kills. Death City, a lot of it takes place in a hospital. And the third one has almost no Michael Myers in it. And people that say Halloween's 3 Season of the Witch has no Michael Myers in it are fucking lying. He's in a commercial for the Halloween movie. The inevitable classic from John Carpenter. It's like, what the balls to write that into the movie.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's I don't know. I wanted to see what the hype was about, and the hype was not real for me. So
wow.
Yeah,
I'm really surprised.
Yeah,
I mean, what I'm more surprised about is that you have not seen Creepshow. that's the most surprising.
All right, Tyler, I'm gonna do you a kindness, as I like to say.
Okay.
Creep Show, going on the list. Okay. 1982.
But how does it relate to Halloween 3?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Because like I said before, Halloween was supposed to be like an anthology sort of series.
Is Creepshow an anthology?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, it's like the movie Creepshow. Within the movie, there's a bunch of other stories.
Yeah. But it has the same sort of, nature of what Halloween 3 is presenting, is that it's like a segment in Creepshow.
All right, and that's fine. And make it a segment. Don't make it a 90-minute movie and offend me. So, I need to take a slight detour for my streaming picks because Kevin just dropped a bombshell in the chat. Deadline is reporting that Henry Cavill's out as The Witcher season 4.
Yeah, I saw that.
Motherfucker. Liam Hemsworth is in.
Oh my god.
Boo. That's boo. So,
well, maybe he's making more time for his Superman.
And Robert in the chat, I do not love Halloween 3, but I do enjoy Halloween Ends.
Mm-hmm. Is it the best Halloween movie? Halloween Ends. In your humble opinion, Mr. Flanders.
No.
Flanders.
No, it isn't. Hold on a second. I do have something to say about apple cider, though.
Most people don't know the difference between apple cider and apple juice, but I do. Now, here's a little trick to help you remember. If it's clear and yellow, you've got juice there, fella. If it's tangy and brown, you're in cider town. Now, there's two.
There's a free fact for everybody from Ned Flanders.
That's great.
That's
great.
So, Kevin, I have that clip because I am Ned Flanders. I have all the clips. So, anyways, I think probably my favorite Halloween is probably the 2018 one. In 2018, I think that's the first David Gordon Green.
Oh,
I'd have
first
to,
Halloween of this
yeah,
new
the
trilogy.
DGG trilogy. I think I have to rewatch it, but I remember enjoying it a fair amount when I watched it. I got it mixed up with the Rob Zombie one, and I was like, why is everybody hating on Rob Zombie one? That was pretty fun. And then I realized it was actually the David Gordon Green one I watched, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I haven't seen the Rob Zombie one. I really don't want to. So, but anyways, so that's sad about Henry Cavill. My next best is actually a really fucking good movie.
Oh, so it went from 0 to 80.
It went from like a, it was probably like a C minus. Halloween 3 was like a C minus. This is a movie. This is Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs. First watch.
Oh, really?
First watch.
Wow.
Yeah, I skipped it. I haven't seen that, and I should have seen it. I should have watched it sooner because I really like Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
And it's another one of these ones where it's like kind of like Weird Al. It's wholesome, but doesn't feel like pandering wholesome. You know, doesn't feel doesn't feel like it's made for preschoolers. It feels like just made for people that don't want to say fuck every other word. So, I really liked it. It's streaming on Disney Plus. This has a dynamite voice cast. Yeah, it is it's a claymation animation. It's not traditional animation. But the fun thing about it is there is a number of scenes where they're on like security camera footage, and that is animated, like 2D, like drawn animation. So when they're showing like the claymation figures through the security camera footage, it's drawn, which I thought was a really fun little note.
Yeah.
So here's the voice cast. Fantastic voice cast. Bryan Cranston as Chief. Edward Norton as Rex. Bob Balaban as King. You probably don't know his name, but his face is super recognizable.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Goldblum as Duke. Bill Murray as Boss. Greta Gerwig as Tracy Walker. Frances McDormand as the interpreter. Scarlett Johansson as Nutmeg. Harvey Keitel as Gondo. F. Murray Abram as Jupiter. Yoko Ono as assistant scientist Yoko Ono.
Yoko Ono is in
Tilda
there.
Swinton as the Oracle. Ken Watanabe as the head surgeon. Fisher Stevens of Hackers fame, and what's the Batteries Not Included as Scrap, and Liev Schreiber as Spots, one of the main guys. Also, classics like the Wes Anderson standbys, like Angelica Houston is in it as well.
Yeah.
So really, really, really fun movie about a fictional time in Japanese era when the government had this like dog disease that was spreading to humans, so they exiled all the dogs to Trash Island, and they just basically said we're going to kill off all the dogs without having to kill them. And cats took over in the human space, and 6 months later there was a cure, but it was being quelled down and government uprising and stuff, and it's one young boy trying to save his dog that was exiled to Scrap Island, and it's like the adventure that they go on for that. So very, very, very fun
on a dump island.
Yeah. Trash Island.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Odd Dogs is I saw that in theaters when it came out, and the intro scene itself was very, very captivating. The stop motion drum sequence.
Yeah, that was great. Like the intro, the title sequence. So there's one scene in it too, which I don't think there's a movie you can really spoil. There is one kind of twist, so if you haven't seen it yet, skip ahead like 30 seconds. But the main character dog is voiced by Bryan Cranston. He's black with little white spots, and at one point he gets a bath and he comes out and he's all white with little black spots. Now he's like this clean white dog. And our dog that I had growing up, her name was Cookie. She was a Lhasa Apso. We got her from the pound, and she was all brown. We thought she was like a dark brown dog. We came home and washed her, and she was like golden, like blonde, blonde, like a retriever. And it was I teared up a little bit seeing that because it was like reminding me of my old dog. And it was so sweet. So anybody who loves dogs, you should watch Isle of Dogs. So good.
The whole aisle of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's that streaming at?
That's on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Yeah, I was surprised it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, I love Fantastic Mr.
Well,
Fox.
you love Isle of Dogs then. And then my best of the week is streaming on HBO Max. And I want to give proper credit to the writer-director because I enjoyed it so much. This is directed and written by Zach Krieger of The Whitest Kids You Know. This is Barbarian from 2022, new release on HBO Max.
So you're recommending that?
Oh boy, did I love this movie.
Oh my god.
It was multiple times where I
my
screamed
God.
out loud and was like, oh god. Ew. Ew, what is that? Ew, there's hair on it too. Oh. It's it's so good. It's like, so it's a horror movie that is it's told in like 3 parts, and it kind of jumps back and forth between. There's a couple time jumps, and there's a couple jumps to different parts of the country and different characters that weren't introduced before.
Yeah.
And it was like this kind of interesting. It's not quite non-linear storytelling. It's almost just like pause this. We're going to tell a little bit of this so that the next part makes sense to you.
Sure.
And I really liked that. And I really liked how once you figure out what the actual reveal is, and you're like, oh, it's that type of movie now. Okay. Once you get into that type of movie, whatever it is, I'm not going to say, it can seem a little boring because it's like, okay, yeah, that's scary. And yeah, we've seen that before. Now it's scary again. Okay, yeah, the next scene is with the same thing, and that's still scary.
That's exactly how I felt.
But the way that the movie is written, you get little tiny breadcrumbs about the backstory of that thing. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, I guess that's why they're obsessed with this. Oh, ew, that makes it even worse now. And he's like, all the way up until the final scene, when it's like a minor character is revealing something about like the lineage and birth of that thing. You're like, oh shit, God, that makes it even worse. And then the final scene, the final scene, you have empathy for it, and you're like, oh my gosh. It's like heartbreaking now. Like it's the villain, clearly the villain, but now you have this empathy because of what it's designed to do, and it only has a one-track mind, and it only has one thing to focus on, and it's heartbreaking. So, it's bananas. Joseph, I really want to hear your thoughts on this next week because that movie is fucking bananas.
It's it's certainly a movie. I will say that.
If you don't like it, that's fine. I mean, not everybody has to agree with the same thing, but
I think it tried too hard.
I think it tried just hard enough.
Tried too hard.
And it's way funnier than anybody led me to believe. Because it's written by a comedic writer and it's directed by a comedic writer. So
is that right?
Yeah, it's the guy from The Whitest Kids You Know.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you said that at the top.
Yeah. So there's definitely times in the movie when you're like, this has to be like a dark comedy. I'm laughing out loud through a lot of it. And there are maybe 1 or 2 moments where you're like, I don't believe the motivation behind the person going into the cave or whatever the fuck it is.
Right.
I maybe don't believe that quite so much, but it is plausible within the story.
I wish we could talk about this movie more.
And I did love Justin Long's character. I thought this is my favorite version of him I've ever seen, and he's morphed into this unlikable person in film. He used to be like the nerdy, dopey guy that everyone felt sorry for. Now he's like this cocksure sort of asshole.
Exactly.
And he plays the part really well. I had a preview screener of this movie called House of Darkness, and they said before, if you don't like Justin Long, you're not gonna like this movie because it's all him being a douchebag. There's just enough of him being a douchebag in this, and then being kind of tortured for it. It makes sense, and it feels like a better version of like his character in Tusk, where his character in Tusk is just you don't want to be anywhere near him. This guy's not that bad, but he's just kind of a tool. So
there's a lot of humanistic aspects to his character. Like when God,
Kindly host, Laborinos.
I don't want to get into the movie, but like I'll just say like that one scene where he says, "I'm sorry, I just..."
That's
like that was a really good scene.
That was probably
really great scene.
That was probably my least. It was shocking what happened, but it was my least favorite. It was like an exposition.
That was your least favorite. That was my favorite.
It was a shocking scene.
You guys are like mirror.
We're like opposites. It was like he's like Bizarro, Tyler.
You guys are like it's like a puzzle piece.
Yeah, we make up one whole person.
Yeah, that's right.
So, anyways, that is Barbarian, streaming on HBO Max. High recommend.
Wow.
From me, not from Tyler.
Yeah, not from me.
Okay. Anything else? You guys good?
Nope.
Yeah, I think
I am good, but I don't have anything else.
Okay. So for our podcast listeners, we're going to be back in a couple days. For our streamers, give us about 15 minutes. We're going to take a short break. Jesse's going to put us on pause. And thank you, Stab Comedy, for hosting us every 4th Saturday. In this case, it's
for sure
5th Saturday because it's Halloween. We wanted to get it on the Halloween night, but follow them on Twitch. There's all kinds of good comedy stuff every single day of the week. They're streaming stuff. So
hold on one second.
What?
How much time do we have right now?
None. We have none.
We have none.
Why? What's up?
I was gonna say like I was gonna ask if we could list our 5 top favorites. Okay.
Do you know what time it is, Tyler?
Now you bring it up.
Well,
It's 105.
oh, that's
How long are our
right.
episodes?
Okay, fine.
We're only 3 years into this.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, thank you so much, listeners. Everyone, tune in a little bit later in the week or in about 15 minutes if you're in Twitch land. And follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class.
And follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010. We have a drought of voicemails, so please leave us one.
Yes, and thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.
Hey, fix your hair. Pull it back. No, take your thing off. All right, one more time, but they played straight this time.
We'll wait until Mask gets situated. Nope, 0 for 3. All right.
Take your time.
Come on. Find the eye holes first, and then pull it back. Don't pull it down. Pull it back. All right. Hey, we got it. All right. Hope you guys had a good break. It's time to come back. Welcome back to your screen, Middle Class Film Class.
That. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete, aka Ned Flanders.
I'm Joseph, aka Gandalf.
And I'm Tyler, aka a home invader.
And on this week's review episode, we're going to be reviewing a listener pick from the Wheel of Destiny, Training Day.
In the next 24 hours, you will learn about the streets, about the choices that will force a dedicated cop over the edge, all in the name of good.
All in the name of love.
It's a training day, Officer Hoyt. It's your chance to give you a little taste of reality. You think you can handle it?
I will do anything you want me to do.
Will you? Let's see.
Then
Sounds like-
suck my cock, Gary.
Sounds like that Boston accent from Quiz Show.
Time based on my investigation. You got today and today only to show me who and what you're made of. You hear me? There's some profoundly evil people walking the streets freely right now.
I'm the police. King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Nothing?
They have to put that in the trailer.
You never know. That's the point. It's gonna have to be a nice day, huh? It'll get darker. Guarantee you that.
All right, Training
Okay.
Day. That sounded like Armageddon or something like that.
Yeah, man, that trailer does not give it justice to how great this movie is.
Well, you know, that's what trailers do. They give you a little taste. So this is Training Day from 2001, directed by Anton Fuqua, written by David Ayer of Suicide Squad fame.
I knew he was involved.
Yeah.
This is before David Ayer took his directing turn. He started directing in 2005 with Harsh Times, which he also wrote, and then moved on to many other things that we may know.
I think he did like a lot of music videos too, right?
No, that's Anton Fuqua. The director, Anton Fuqua, has directed a ton of music videos, and this
that's right.
This is only his, I think, Fuqua's third feature movie, The Replacement Killers, and then Bait, and then Training Day. So this was a listener suggestion by listener Scott, who wrote back to us in April 21st of 2021 and said, "Hey, I just discovered the show, and I can't get enough. You guys are hilarious. Thank you, Scott. I want to hear y'all's take on Training Day. Anyways, keep it up." And Scott never wrote back when I replied to him, so either he's been abducted by aliens or he stopped listening.
Yeah, who the hell is this? Peter Beta mailing.
Middle Class Film Class email. Weird email. But no, thank you, Scott, for that. We really appreciate it. Sorry it took so long to get there, but Wheel's a fickle mistress. So Training Day is, like I said, directed by Anton Fuqua, written by David Ayer, and it stars a litany of wonderful people. Denzel Washington as Alonzo, Ethan Hawke as the rookie Jake, Scott Glenn as Roger, Tom Berenger as Stan Harsky. We got Dr. Dre as Paul, Snoop Dogg as Blue, Macy Gray as the Sandman's wife.
I mean, Snoop Dogg was only in for like 3 minutes.
Ava Mendez as Sarah.
Dr. Dre is Paul.
And then a ton of people who you would recognize, like Raymond Cruz, who plays Sniper in this. He was also Tuco Salamanca from Breaking Bad.
Right, yeah.
Noel Guglielmi, who plays Hector in everything. He plays Moreno in this one. And a bunch of other people you might recognize, a lot of character actors. And David Ayer makes a very small role himself, which you can't see his face, but he plays one of the hitmen at the very end.
Oh, I see.
So that's his training day, and this was not my first time watching it. So let's go.
Oh, really?
Let's go around, and it's streaming on HBO Max right now. So if you want to watch it, you don't want to hear us spoil it, because we will here in a second. Let's go around and I'm so sorry, I didn't even mention we're streaming right now on Stab Comedy.
Oh yeah,
live on Twitch.
Right.
So-
Yeah.
You can see our beautiful
And it's Halloween
faces.
episode. Yeah.
Well, two of them, maybe 1/3 of them.
Well, you can see a half of Joseph's face, 1/8 of Tyler's face, and most of my face that's not obscured by a Ned Flanders mustache.
Not an accurate portrayal of his day-to-day face.
No. So our last episode on Monday was on Halloween, dropped on Halloween. This will drop a couple days into November, but it is our Halloween
Right, yeah.
episode. So hop on over to the show notes, and there's a VOD link that you can watch. Watch this whole thing live.
You can see our mouths move in person.
Well, me and Tyler's.
Yeah, a little bit.
Your mouth, I can't see shit.
You can sort of see the beard moving a little
Joseph is Gandalf the Grey.
bit. Yes, I am.
And Tyler is Marv from Home Alone.
Yeah,
Why?
much more
He's a-
homicidal.
Why the hell did you take your shoes off?
The Sticky Bandit.
Yeah, he's a
He's actually one of the home invaders of Nancy Pelosi's van.
son of a bitch. Here we go again. Here we go.
You're putting my life in danger, Joseph.
Well, they can't see your face. They shouldn't worry.
Okay, so anyways, let's go around the table and say our initial thoughts and what your relationship is with Training Day. Joseph.
So yeah, this is a first time watch for me. Training Day. I've definitely heard about it. Definitely have seen parts of this movie, like clips from this movie. The King Kong one specifically, and just like a lot of just like small quotes from Denzel's character, Alonzo. But yeah, first time full viewing for me, and I really enjoyed this movie. It's really good.
Nice.
I didn't know really I knew kind of what it was about, but like not the full scope of the story. I just knew it was just like, oh, this guy's, he had that. My gist of the movie was that Denzel Washington plays a guy who's a veteran. Essentially, he's been in the business for a while, and as the name implies, it is the training day for Ethan Hawke's character. So that's as far as I knew, essentially, and that's most of what you kind of get. You get that element of it, but then obviously there's a lot more deeper level stuff happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. The tension was great many times. There's a lot of tension in this movie.
Yeah.
Over and over again. And it's kind of like, it felt like I was like watching like a version of like a Grand Theft Auto mission.
Oh yeah, that's good. Good call.
It was, but you're on the POV of the cop instead. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of sad, mad, upset. It took me this long to get around to watching it.
Oh really?
But it was never something that was just like on my radar. I never had it on a list or anything. But I'm glad I watched it finally. And I will say though that I'm not a big fan of the very end of the movie. I feel like I could have done something different with it that would have. You kind of just think like, oh, I understand the consequences of your actions.
It was like a Monty Python sketch. They don't know how to end it, so they just kill everyone.
But it makes sense. But I also feel like they could have done something just a little different, and it would have been more satisfying to watch, I guess, for other characters in the story.
Sure.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Wonderful. That's good news. Thank you, listener Scott, for that. Tyler.
Yeah, so this was a first time watch for me as well.
Wow.
And I went into it cold. Like I knew that Training Day was available for my viewing. I just never checked it out. Like I just always knew that it was regarded as a great movie, but I was like, oh, I'll check it out sometime. Like, I kept putting it off. And so now since we're doing the show, I finally was able to watch it. And oh my God, this impacted me like the first viewing of The Departed.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a new hero in Alonzo?
No. I think this movie. The lovely Sabrina. my lovely Sabrina. She said when she first heard that I was watching Training Day, she's like, "Oh, you're watching that Copaganda movie." Copaganda, yeah, that's how she described it. Copaganda movie, and I was just like, no, it's not Copaganda, like, because in the end, you kind of realize, like, cops are just state-sponsored gangsters.
Okay.
Like, and they do it very, very eloquent. The director eloquently presents these the police force as being gangsters, because there's like definitely a not black and white, but more so like you see like the gangsters on the street, and then you see how Alonzo portrays himself with the gangsters. And so there's definitely a sort of mirror image of like street crime and then state sponsored crime. And I think they did that very well. It was getting my mask was getting my eyeballs again. So I really love this movie. I think Ethan Hawke was a very great choice for the rookie cop, because he portrays a starry-eyed sort of rookie cop that you would see in other movies, where he's like, "Oh, I want justice for the streets," and then Denzel Washington's character is like, "Well, you know what? It's not all black and white."
Yeah, there's a good. Well, I want to get up here.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I went to this movie very cold. I had not watched any clips from it. I've only seen like box cover art from it, and I'm glad that I watched it. And I will be watching this again, probably like a few more times, because I feel like there's a couple of other viewings that you can catch on to, like some of the more nuanced stuff.
Sure.
That happens throughout the movie.
Cool. Awesome. Glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not my first watch. I think this is probably my third time, and it's I feel like this is the prototype for there's a very specific type of feel. It's like corrupt LA cop cinema. Like they have stuff from maybe in like the early 80s where something we might watch at like bootleg cinema with what was that one, To Live and Die in LA?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it feels more like an action adventure movie, like more fun than like dirty. Like we're watching Training Day and you're like, oh God, he just forced him to smoke PCP. You're like, what would you do in that situation?
You like to get wet.
Yeah, there's like, there's attempted rapes, there's home invasions. Tyler was made a cameo in the movie. And it's like, this is the prototype version of that movie where it's like, it doesn't get much better than Denzel Washington as Alonzo, as the crooked cop.
Yeah.
And I agree 100% that Ethan Hawke is like the perfect part for it. He played it so well, like a Boy Scout, just wanting to do the right thing. But he's presented with these situations that are so out in left field. He's like, the funny thing, like one of the funniest things on a rewatch to me is in the beginning when they're in the coffee shop, just not having like making banter with his like commanding officer seemed so foreign to him. He was like, he couldn't just sit there and shut the fuck up when he asked him to shut the fuck up and let me read my newspaper. And it's like, if that is a bridge too far for him, by the end of the movie, you're just like, this poor guy, he's gonna have to.
And this was his first day too.
First day in this department. So to be clear, it wasn't like he was a cop for the first time. This is just his first day in narcotics. But yeah, absolutely. So I really like this. I really like this movie quite a bit. And we'll talk a little bit more about like David Ayer's legacy and Anton Fuqua's legacy, because Fuqua didn't really go in that same direction. And David Ayer seems to be a guy that this is he's a one-trick pony, and all he does is this. And maybe it was Anton Fuqua's magic that made this much better than all the other ones, but he kind of has his own lane and he stays in it. So if you liked this one, Tyler, you should go down. We'll get into David Ayer's cinematography a little bit later.
Yeah, I was gonna say he did What's that other cop movie he did with Jake Gyllenhaal?
The Harsh Times. That was his first directorial debut.
He did
End of Watch.
I'm sorry.
End of Watch.
I'm thinking
That's
of
what it was.
when you said Jake Gyllenhaal. I was thinking of Christian Bale.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a wild movie too.
yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, we all seem to like it. That's really good.
All right, put some grades on it.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
let's get the fuck out of here. Okay, here we go. Happy Halloween, everybody. No, okay.
Oh no, there's a lot to discuss.
What was Joseph? What was your first most shocking scene?
Shocking scene. I mean, the most shocking, not shocking, but I guess my favorite tense moment.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few. Is when, and I guess the sort of shocking, but not really surprising, is when they home invade spoilers. They home invade Roger's house.
Yeah.
And they hold him up essentially.
I know. The first time I saw it, I was thinking, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wait, they're bad guys.
The Sandman.
Yeah.
He is the Sandman, and but
Sandman,
so that whole sequence, and then the ultimate why don't you shoot him? Why don't you shoot him? And then he pulls a fast one on him, takes the shotgun, and is holding Alonzo down on the couch, and they have this whole interaction. And and Lloyd, or no, not Lloyd, Hoyt is
Jake Hoyt
is has tears on the ridge of his eyelids as Alonzo is making a case or trying to essentially reason with him, and he kind of set him up for all this bullshit.
He got him backed into a corner for sure.
Yeah, and then I knew he was gonna fucking punch Dr. Dre.
Really?
I knew. I was imagining it.
Dr. Dre.
I was imagining it happening too, and then he did it, and I was like, yes,
clairvoyance.
Yeah,
that's why you're the wizard.
Yeah, exactly. But that scene was really great. Great acting from Denzel on that part, and also Ethan Hawke.
Now
that's when
imagine
it switches to Ethan Hawke's character.
He kind of takes the lead.
Yeah.
Now imagine that same scene where Ethan Hawke's got his tears are welling up in his eyes. He's staring down at Alonzo, and he realized just how much he got played and how his back really is against the wall. And there's fucking nothing he can do unless he doesn't ever want to see his wife and kid again.
Sure.
It's I could kill Alonzo here right now, but then what?
Yeah.
Imagine that instead of Ethan Hawke, it's Tobey Maguire.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna mention that.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire was a potential actor for Ethan Hawke's character.
Toby was the backup, and he spent 2 months shadowing drug police in
That's
LA.
right. Yeah.
And then when Ethan Hawke's hey, my schedule opened up, they're like, all right, fuck Toby.
Oh really?
Yeah. They literally just said, so, see you later. We got our first.
And then he went on to do Spider-Man with Ramsey. Or Raimi, sorry. Ramsey, I'm sorry.
What about
Been
you?
watching a lot of cooking shows.
What about you, Tyler? What was your most shocking or exciting scene?
Oh, my favorite exciting, most tense scene in this movie is when he's with the Mexican gangsters. Towards the end of the movie, I believe
the one we're in with Tuco.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it was about 20 minutes before the movie ends.
Yeah.
He's in that house, and they're saying, I think Sammy or Smiley. No, Smiley. Smiley's like, oh, play, have a beer, play some cards with us. And at first he's like, oh no, I'm not going to play. Ethan Hawke's character, he's saying, I'm not going to play cards, or whatever. I'm about to leave, and then he realizes that his partner leaves.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, shit, I have to now at this point, because throughout the whole movie, he's conditioned to be a part of this underground that he's policing. He really can't say no to anything at this point.
Well, he's in the lion's den. I mean, he's literally as they're walking in, every person on the street's mean mugging him you punk bitch cop. And they're walking in but I'm a good guy because I'm giving you money in a blender.
Yeah,
exactly.
But now that his training wheels are off and Alonzo's gone, he's by himself.
And also, he's in the jungle, which is this neighborhood which they reference in the beginning of the movie. It's like a one-way, you come in and you don't come out. So
Was he in that neighborhood at that time? I don't think he was.
it was in it was in the yeah
No,
it was.
it
was in
the jungle is a different neighborhood. He wasn't in that neighborhood.
That's where he goes
at the end.
At the end with
All
and has
the-
the showdown.
All the guys kind of turn on Alonzo at some point.
That's
oh,
what
so the Mexican gangster. Oh,
No.
okay.
So
It
think about
had
it.
the same. It
Tyler,
had the
Tyler,
same.
Tyler. Think about it in terms of race, because it's most of this movie is like the different gangs are divided into race. It's like that's the
okay.
Mexican clique. That's like North Side or South Side or whatever they were calling themselves. And then the jungle
Yeah, it
was
was like
where,
Hillside or something like that.
yeah, and then the jungle was mostly all like Terry Crews was in that group,
Right.
you know?
Okay.
Which I could not laugh when I saw Terry Crews.
Clap into for the pigeons.
Yeah. So
that's OG gangster.
Yeah.
well, when they went into
Pigeon wrangler.
so when they went into that
Pigeons. We have that job somewhere.
It's in there somewhere.
yeah. So when they went into that neighborhood, though, like the cul-de-sac seemed very similar. So like I guess I didn't catch that.
It doesn't matter. But anyways, he's in Lion's Den.
So yeah, so he's in the Lion's Den, and he's with like these 3 top gangsters of some Mexican gang, and then he goes into the he gets wrangled into the bathroom.
Yeah, the pleasantries and the banter back and forth ends, and then he realizes they're about to fuck him up, and he gets shanghaied, pulled into the bathroom, and they got a shotgun to his head. They're about to paint the walls with his brains.
Right. Yes.
And then they pull the little like the Hello Kitty wallet out of his back pocket.
Yeah.
And it's the guy's niece who he saved earlier.
Right. Yeah, and I like that callback too. Like there's a lot of parts in this movie where they're like everything that happens in the beginning of the movie pays off in the end.
Do you think that they if without the whole niece thing, they would actually have killed him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because in the scene prior to that, you can hear Alonzo talking, make sure the tub's clean. Almost as if like
he's setting him up to get killed in the bathroom.
Well, why would it matter if the tub's clean?
I think that's like just code. Like instead of saying kill this guy in the bathtub, he says make sure the tub's clean.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I took it as like, oh, it's just like
they're gonna scare him.
It's a test, essentially, because he shows up back at his apartment. He's like, oh yeah, you're a narc now.
It's possible. I mean, it's possible. I took it as that part of the story tells the audience that there is a redeeming part to following the letter of the law. Like he wanted to stop. Ethan Hawke wanted to stop when he saw the little girl getting raped in the alleyway, and Alonzo's like, "Fuck that! Leave that for the beat cops. We're catching whales.
So
that's a small fish." And
So then,
right.
So then, wouldn't it lean more to the fact that it was a test because Alonzo wasn't counting on like that person being the niece of the guy that was going to kill him. It just happened that he was the guy.
I think that's the only thing that saved him was the fact that he stopped, helped that girl, got the wallet. If he hadn't have done that, he would have gone into Southside Killers or whatever they are, and just dropped him off because he's at this point. Think about it in terms of Alonzo and Jake's relationship. Jake finally stepped up to him and basically said, "I'm not taking your dirty money. I'm not going to take the fall for you for this murder that you guys just perpetrated and took all this guy's money." So Alonzo thinks he's going to snitch on him. It's like that at this point now he has to get rid of Jake. So he's been an asshole to him this whole time, but he hasn't like put him to the point where he's going to die. At this point, he's like, "Oh, fuck this."
So
that's how I took it.
I still don't know.
So what I think
I could see it that way though.
So what I think about Alonzo's whole like scheme was that he picked a cop from like a plethora of cops that he could have picked for his unit. And since he was in deep with the Russian mafia because he beat one of them to death in Vegas, he was trying to find a fall guy. And that was his whole purpose. He wasn't trying to find a new member of his unit. He was trying to find someone that he could basically like use.
Yeah, essentially be a fall guy.
Yeah, a fall guy, but not really a fall guy, but just like more so like he could like it was kind of a little bit convoluted on like how he was going to use Ethan Hawke's character, but it made sense kind of. So he was going to use this new rookie to steal money, do like armed robbery, like Ethan Hawke's character.
I didn't need Ethan Hawke to do that though.
Well, he did because he needed that fall guy. Like every step of the way, he needed someone to be that innocent person. So like if nothing worked out in all of his steps to getting his $1 million by midnight for the Russians, which was his payment to be good with the Russian mafia, he needed someone to be that fall person. Like if something went incorrect throughout his whole process.
I think it's just another tool in his arsenal. Like it's just another out. He could have used him as expendable. He could have had somebody who bought into his little, corrupt gang he's got of cops. It could have gone kind of either way, but I'm with you. I think he probably had him picked out for that and essentially used as a fall guy.
Yeah.
But I would be interested to rewatch it again and think of it a different way in that final scene, because I got major like Scarface chainsaw in the bathtub vibes from that scene. It made my like butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna get fucking chopped to bits. But when he finally does go back to the jungle, Ethan Hawke gets out. He goes to Alonzo's house where Eva Mendes is looking mighty fine,
that
gorgeous.
was a great scene.
Alonzo definitely was like, he was very surprised to see him alive, and also was like, oh fuck, I guess good for you, you caught me, I don't know, that just, it almost seemed like the day's over. I got through my training day with this kid, I got rid of him, it didn't go the way I wanted it, he turned on us, so fuck him, he's dead now to me, and I'm just gonna, I gotta get my shit together before midnight. So
yeah, I mean, I think if I could have a complaint about this movie, it would be that his unit was a little bit useless for the whole plot. Like it was useful for the Rogers sort of armed robbery, but other than that, it was like, who cares? Like, who else is in his unit? Like,
I don't think you need to. I mean, the story is Ethan Hawke and Denzel. They're just a little additional players in it.
In one thing that after watching this movie, I was thinking about this on the drive to the Beta Studio. I was thinking like, I wanted more of Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke dialogue, because I feel like that was the most compelling of this movie. Like Denzel Washington,
Denzel's an OG badass motherfucker.
And I gotta say, Denzel Washington, probably the best actor in our century.
You think so?
The best one.
The best.
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so.
In a world where Tobey Maguire also exists, you say you pick Denzel? Okay.
I would. I'm sorry.
Topher Grace?
I'm sorry, Toby and Topher. You're referring to Spider-Man 3.
I like Denzel a lot. I haven't seen him in enough like non-gangster roles to be able to comment on the rest of his stuff, but he's very good. And up until I watched The Tragedy of Macbeth, the Joel Cohen one, I kind of was like, he's kind of a one-trick pony. He's got this he's got this vibe about him, and he's very,
he acts like Denzel.
Yeah, exactly. He's got. It's almost like Will Smith when he's playing Will Smith, in Men in Black and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but he does it really good though. He does it really good. Like no one can be Denzel Washington.
Yeah, because he's Denzel Washington.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's like
he's the best Denzel Washington of the century.
He's the best Denzel Washington impersonator I've ever seen.
I mean, I don't know. I just think that
like Michael Caine, same thing. He's just that person. Or Christopher Walken, he's like that character. He's almost a character unto himself.
It's just the cadence of how he delivers his lines and like the mood that he portrays. And I know he, like you said, he does a lot of gangster movies and stuff like that. But
he does a lot of other movies too. I just haven't watched them, so I can't really comment on it. But when I saw Tragedy of Macbeth, I was like, "This motherfucker's good."
He does a lot of like
really good
politician movies too, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
So I mean,
Freedom Riders.
He always plays. It seems like he always plays a person who has a lot of like
authority
things to say You know what I mean?
Like poignant.
Like he always you say something, he always has something to say back.
Yeah.
You know, it's
He
not
plays a person with a lot of authority.
And also a lot of wisdom to
other
share.
than
with.
in John Q, he had no authority other than the gun he had to hold all those hostages.
That's a name written down the side of the 45. Authority. So as far as David Ayer goes, I feel like this is his magnum opus. I think
for
he's
sure.
fantastic.
For sure.
You haven't seen any of his other stuff.
The Suicide Squad.
That's one. Did you see the Tax Collector?
No, I don't believe I have.
That's the one that Shia LaBeouf got his big chess piece for.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So David Ayer is more of a writer than a director, but he directed The Tax Collector. He directed Bright, which is essentially just Training Day but with orcs and elves. People seem to hate that movie, but I thought it was really
I never
fun.
saw it.
I thought it was fun. I'd like to see what your opinion is on it because it's exactly that. It's Training Day with orcs.
Really? So is he still Alonzo? Sorry, I don't know why I assume Denzel Washington is in it.
Will Smith is in it, actually.
Oh, Will Smith.
It's funny enough.
Is Will Smith Alonzo?
It's kind of like, yeah, kind of. He is a little bit. It's not exactly like it's in the Training Day universe. There's not a one day of training, but Will Smith is paired up with
universe.
Will Smith is paired up with a new
Joel
partner who's played by Joel Edgerton as an orc,
Uh-huh.
like a gray blue orc. Here's a picture of him.
Yeah,
that's Joel Edgerton, and it's an allegory for a race. Like no one wants to work with the orc. Humans don't like working with orcs.
I see.
And orcs are bad species, just like in Zootopia. You know, the meat eaters versus the non-meat eaters.
Mm-hmm.
So he's paired up with him, but Joel Edgerton's one of the good ones. But he uses his like orc abilities, and they're like, "Oh, so you are an orc?" Like he could smell. He's like, "It wasn't him. I could tell because I could smell it on him." And you're like, "Well, I need more than that. I need more evidence." And my partner smelled him. He's innocent, you know. So there's a lot of really fun stuff they do within that universe, taking like this new
like
twist on it.
Fantasy Training Day.
Yes. So I quite liked that movie, but he also did Harsh Times. He did gosh, where am I here? I'm on the Bright page now. Shit.
Well, anyways, let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that the corruption of the police force was justified for what they were trying to obtain?
Do you think it's justified?
You know, I don't think so. I don't think so. But I think that it brings up I think this movie brings up a really good conversation on how Denzel Washington's view on like arresting like the big whales, as he calls it.
Well, that's different. That's different than being corrupt. You know.
Well,
it's just really funny hearing you talk about like crime and stuff dressed as a criminal.
I know. The irony is not lost on me. But I was it was really intriguing, like listening to his basically like justifying his ways, especially after he shoots Rogers, who was who he says was dealing dope to like 12-year-old kids, and he was like, we had to take him out because he was dealing dope to 12-year-old kids.
Sure.
Like,
So can I unpack that for 2 seconds?
Oh, sure.
So I like where you're going with this. Taking the law into your own hands and like killing an actual like drug dealer who's actually selling to, you know, little kids in schools.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's something that you might be able to argue about. You know, okay, do we just kill pedophiles once you find out they're a pedophile? You know, that's a question that I think that merits a discussion. You know, I think that usurping the justice system generally doesn't really go very well, but there are things where it's like, I saw this person stab this other person in the heart and that person's dead. That person, the person doing the stabbing, probably should just be killed. You know,
Yeah.
maybe if you want to have a discussion about that, and if you want to have a discussion about, well, this is the narcotics division and we're going after whales. Don't waste your time on low-level criminals. Okay, that makes sense too. If you have a huge workforce that all the people are working on this, and your job is to focus on the big people, if you're focusing on the small people, it is handicapping your work with the big people. And if
Yeah.
you're not doing that, then who else is doing that? So it's sort of like a delegation within a chain of command sort of thing. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
you don't want I run a body shop. You don't want the person running the body shop to go out wash cars because you have people to wash cars.
Yeah.
It's not like it's below me, but if I'm washing cars, I'm not doing my job, and no one else,
$500,000 a year.
no one else can do my job in the shop except for me. But I got a lot of people in the shop that can wash the cars, so
Right.
you delegate, right? So, and their job is just as important because you have to have a wash car to get it back to the customer.
Sure.
With this person, it's like if they stop and just stop every rape in every alleyway they drive by, they're never going to get to their job. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
So I get all that too.
It's I would say it's a little different.
Yes, it's very, very different. But just the analogy. But where I don't agree with it is, you have a group of 4 corrupt cops go in and murder this guy who they say is
and rob him.
They murder this guy who they say is selling to children, drugs to children, and that's their justification for it. And then they pocket the money. That's why they're doing it. They're doing it to pocket the money. They're not doing it to justify the killing.
They don't pocket all the money.
Yes,
though.
they do.
No, they pocket $250,000 each.
Oh,
so
I see what
it's,
you mean.
So it's 3. So
and they're turning some of it into whatever the
in that,
evidence.
Yeah, in that scene they say, "Oh, we found $4 million," and then Alonzo said
$3 million.
$3 million.
So that's the difference. They're justifying it after the fact.
Yeah, that's the reason they give people.
Yeah, they tell other people that oh yeah, we killed that guy. We had to. He was a monster.
But also, they even do a whole setup. They shoot. They stage
they
they shoot the
that
guy.
Poor man.
They shoot the guy. Like, oh yeah, first off, you barged in. He shoots you twice, and then Hoyt over here shoots Rogers, even though he didn't.
And then he has to
actually
go.
shoot him.
Oh my god! And
That's like
the implications of
Place
that.
Beyond the Pines.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So what happened? He barged in. He was shooting at you already. You had no choice.
And the implication of that too, though, it's like, okay, so yeah, he gets shot into the bulletproof vest. You know, that's going to be huge bruising, which also could kill you. But like, so he potentially survives. But then he actually gets shot in the belly.
More convincing.
And so now he.
You feel bad for that guy?
Yes.
He just murdered somebody. He's a criminal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, semantics.
I don't know.
It's coming from a criminal.
Yes, coming from an established B&E.
But I think this movie was a lot different than I was expecting it to be. I thought it was going to be like sort of like a dad like Sunday afternoon movie, but it's a lot more philosophical than I expected it to be. Just because I feel like it has a lot of a realistic sort of view on how policing works in our country. Because it's not so black and white. Like policing, like in Denzel Washington's character, like he says as much, like that, you know, like you can't deny, like if someone offers you something, you can't deny it because that's gonna
that's
like
pretty,
you can't.
that's a good example of a gray area.
Like there's a lot of gray areas when it comes to like these undercover investigations. Also,
but murdering perpetrators to steal their money is not a gray area.
But that also explains that power corrupts. And this is a perfect example of how much power Denzel Washington's character has, is because when he meets with the captain of the LAPD, the DA, the lead detective of
in the
like
restaurant.
burglary, in that restaurant, I think that is a perfect example of how that this is really just a state-sponsored crime syndicate. And I think Ethan Hawke's character realizes that, like, especially towards the end of the movie, too. And it's Ethan Hawke's performance is just really great because he doesn't even have to say anything. Like you can see in his face, like, his mood changing, like when he first goes out to the out of his house, like starting his first day, like, you know, like he's like
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Exactly, he's bright-eyed, and then by the end of the movie, he's just like a slum.
Yeah, he's a broken man.
He's what
a day.
Talk about Mondays, am I right?
Yeah.
I know and also he worked like 14 hours a day. Like
Well, just one day.
Like 14 hours.
When
14 hours.
What do you dude? I don't even know what that means.
I think it was probably longer than 14 hours too, because he got up at 5 a.m.
Oh,
Well,
that's right. Yeah.
No, you're probably right, because he said meet me at the restaurant at 10.
Yeah.
So he gets to the restaurant, and by the way, that restaurant was also the same restaurant that Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman met in Seven.
Is that right?
Same restaurant, IRL.
Oh.
Yeah,
Nice.
fun stuff.
So I think this movie is a lot more philosophical than probably a lot of other people would take it for, because
But it's brutal as fuck. I mean, he forces him to smoke PCP within, 2-3 hours of starting the shift,
and they're drinking hard liquor,
at
like 11 a.m.
Yeah,
drinking beer while they're driving.
So he takes peace.
On that note, it's also a commentary on this whole idea of like, well, I want to be this. I want to be this when I grow up. I want to be the president of the United States. You think that there's some corrupt back at door CIA operative killing people without telling anybody else in the world shit that's not going on in the White House,
Mm-hmm.
It's like whatever it is, once the higher you get up in this chain of authority, you as a layperson, or maybe as like a naive child, you think, oh, they're adults, they do the right thing. Oh, they're the police, they do the right thing. Oh, it's the president of the United States, he's a good guy. I voted for him because I align with his politics, he's a good guy. It's like Barack Obama still, as much as you may think he was the better candidate, if you do think that, he's still okayed drone strikes which killed civilians.
Yeah.
It's like the higher up you get, the more corruption you get. And
That's right.
whether that's good or good or bad or right or wrong or whatever, it's like maybe it's a necessary evil. Do we need the CIA to keep us safe? I don't know.
It's a complicated situation, which is what I think this movie portrays, is that
I agree with that.
This is actually what I was thinking too, is these neighborhoods that have these gangs, they are violent, but what I saw from what this movie portrays is they take care of their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's very tribal, and the police are an enemy tribe. So it's sure.
So this
selling dope to younger kids, yes, of course that's bad. But
that's a bold take, Tyler. It's a bold take.
But the the benefits and rewards from doing that, though, provides for families. You know what I mean? So it's like, I really loved what Training Day does as far as portraying the complexity of poverty.
So what you're saying after this movie, you decided to not pursue your dream of being a police officer?
No. Did I tell you I almost joined the Navy?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would have been a mistake.
Well, I'm glad I didn't, because I couldn't do it.
I have a quote from
I couldn't do it.
my face sake for today, Ned Flanders, about Alonzo.
Oh, can't you see this man isn't a hero? He's annoying. He's very, very annoying.
You thought he was annoying?
I think if being around people like that for long periods of time.
You won the best leading actor in 2000.
Yeah, for playing an annoying asshole. I mean, his energy is so like, hey brother, come out here. We're gonna, you gotta be a wolf, man. You can't be a sheep. You gotta be a wolf. You gotta be a wolf or not.
You gotta be a wolf among sheep.
Yeah. I don't know. That's like that entrepreneur energy.
Hustle every day.
Yeah. What are you doing when you're relaxing on the couch? You're losing money. That's what you're doing.
That's the streets. He has a street IQ of 160.
What I honestly think it is that, and there's a moment, I think it's after the Roger assassination. Is like they're in the car, as they are the whole movie pretty much, talking
in the office.
Talking
Monte Carlo,
talking to each other.
That was a beautiful car.
And there's a moment where I feel like Alonzo essentially breaks character and is talking to Hoyt as like the person who he really is.
Yeah.
And is not obviously the car, his whole like attitude persona is he's just so in deep with his job and like what he's into now and the life that he leads and the kind of life that he has to lead for the job. But there's like that brief window that opens and you see into his soul basically. Like he basically opens himself up because like it's really seems really genuine.
Yeah.
And it's right before he takes him to the Mexican gangsters.
Yep.
But ultimately we know like his ulterior motives. So it's like I felt as if like that was his true self, or at least his former self, maybe.
Yeah.
Before he became a narc. And I thought that was really interesting that like he kind of would open himself up like that.
I think he didn't have the energy to keep the facade on from any longer.
Mm-hmm.
It was just too much. And that was it. I really like when characters finally break down and show their true colors, and then the ultimate emotional breakdown when the whole neighborhood, the jungle, turns on Alonzo.
Yeah.
And they're basically like, well, we got your partners back, not you, so fuck you. And when that happens, that is when I feel like when Denzel really shines, because you can see he's trying to keep that machismo persona on the face of authority and face of I'm the cool guy, you don't cross me sort of thing. I'm the one that's going to keep you out of prison.
He's the ultimate narcissist.
As he's being turned on actively, and it's like they don't give a fuck about him at that point. And then they all, instead of like beating his ass or shooting him or whatever, they just walk away. And it's almost even more worse. Like they're just tired of him. They're like, you're old news. You're not even.
And like you get the impression that nobody likes him.
Well, I mean, throughout the so that's an interesting point, because throughout the whole movie, he keeps saying like, "Oh, I just need to tax this guy." Like it's all about taxing these
the tax
informants.
collector.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So he's always taxing these people. So at this point, where he's lost everything, he has no more taxes to tax from these his neighbors. They're just like, well, we never really cared about you. You just strong-armed us.
Yeah.
And do your bidding.
Neighbors.
Well, yeah.
I know he's got a pad there, but that's not the number one house. That's just his side piece.
Oh,
that's not his wife.
That's right.
Speaking of which, best casting in the entire movie: the little kid that plays Alonzo's and Eva Mendez's son.
That's the best cast.
If you took Eva Mendes and
and
Denzel Washington and merged them together and asked me what their child would look like, I'd say that kid.
That's a good
point. I saw as soon as you
Absolutely.
see him sitting on the couch, you're like, that's his love child with
That's
her.
a good point.
No way about it. No way around it at all.
You know what's funny too is like they don't even like strictly say like that's his kid, but once he first comes on the screen, like you can already make that connection.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's great casting, and he does say it's his kid. Tells him mijo.
Yeah,
that's my son.
Oh, I don't understand that language. So I don't.
We live in California.
That language. Wow.
It's all about race. All about race with Tyler. All about race. These people.
Don't bring my racism up here.
Whoa. Okay, take it easy now.
What? Anything else you guys wanted to comment on?
The ending that I brought up earlier. I just felt like the ending was just. It just kind of
like the very end.
Like when the Russians show up.
The shooting under the Red Hot Chili Peppers under the bridge.
Yeah. I didn't really like that whole lot. I didn't feel like it was. I know it was like I said, it was like the consequences of your actions, but we didn't really witness or hear much about his actions.
Yeah.
So it's like that just came out of nowhere. It felt like
it's kind of like that's a weird subplot, which ultimately is the like driving factor for all of the plot.
Yes,
but you never saw it. I'm with you. I feel like maybe that could have been a little bit more obvious, or more shown to us.
I
also thought it was weird too that they were playing under the bridge now.
Yeah, when they opened the door, you could hear it.
Yeah, he's listening to it on the radio. You're like, I think he'd be listening to Snoop Dogg or something in that car.
I actually did like the ending, just because.
He wishes he would have set his house on fire too, though.
Yeah,
we should have murdered him long ago.
I did like the ending because it was a part of the whole scheme that he was trying to avoid. He was trying to avoid this his misdoings with the Russian mafia,
Mm-hmm.
and he used Hoyt as like a scapegoat, and it didn't work because Hoyt is actually a competent person who can navigate through the narcissism of Denzel Washington's character. And I think that him being shot by the Russians, although it was quick, and I wish there was a little bit more of like a looming cloud throughout the whole story about that, it definitely felt justified.
Yes.
I mean, it was, like justified in the best sense that it could be justified, I guess, in this world.
Because he's a crooked asshole and he gets his comeuppance.
Yeah. And he was just like, he beat a guy to death just because.
Well, in
knowing who he
the
was.
captain of the LAPD even said, he was just like, "Hey, man, like your
They
head
don't
is
care-
on a platter."
They don't
right
care
now."
if you're a cop. Yeah, the Russians don't care if you're a cop.
Yeah.
It just was like, it just felt just out of left field.
It did feel like it's almost like maybe if they were to have, it's kind of a cheesy plot device, but when they have like they keep referencing the time, oh, it's midnight, it's an hour to midnight, it's 2 hours to midnight or whatever. Maybe if they were to like lean on that a little bit more, the build up, the suspense build up to this final climax would be a little bit more effective.
Yeah,
but as it played out, it was just like, if you don't get that money by midnight, he's dead, and you're like, okay, you heard that and you kind of file it away, and then a bunch of other shit happens, and then, and the movie comes, and you're like, oh fuck, he got.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot about that. There is, to the credit of this movie, there's a lot of shit going on in this. Like, there's a lot of interesting little side vignettes, and the beating up the crackheads in the alley. They're trying to, rape the girl, and then there's the meeting with the head honchos in the restaurant, and then he steals the money from Macy Gray's house.
Yeah.
Making up the warrant. Like, all these little tricks were probably the fun part about it to me, was like, how interesting it is to watch this crooked cock be crooked.
I mean, crooked cock.
Your words, not mine.
What I will say about this movie too is that you almost fall for the charisma of Denzel Washington's character, because
you personally, not me.
Okay, well, yeah. So me,
I found him grating.
So me personally, like, I would have fallen in line with him and probably have gotten killed because of his scheming.
Love with him.
Ooh.
No, I said fallen in line.
Fell in love. What are you doing?
Why are you falling in love with Alonzo?
No, I'm not falling in love with Alonzo. But I found myself saying, like, Ethan Hawke, like, why? What are you doing? Like, just like fall in line with him. Like, what are you doing? Like, just like just shoot the guy. Like, just take the money. Like, do this and that and the other.
I mean,
I'm very concerned for you, Tyler.
Well, but that's the
sounds like a bootlicker to me.
Yeah,
that is the power of corruption, though, and I think this movie really portrays how easy it is to fall in line with like a corrupt
Tyler,
sort of leader.
Your tongue ever get numb from all that police issue boot polish that you're licking?
Yeah, I mean, occasionally. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the polish that I lick. But anyways,
yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just like, because of the charisma of Denzel Washington, it's easy to like.
I have to disagree with that completely. I have to say that the difficult situations that Alonzo puts Jake into, that's the motivating factor, in my opinion, for his character going along with this shit. Is like, I want the promotion, I want to do this. I think, at least I think I do, and he's backing me into a corner. It's like, it's just a little weed. Okay, whatever. I guess he makes a good point. You gotta be able to not turn it down on the street. And he shows him all these things, and then he backs him into these really fucked up corners.
Yeah,
where he's being used as a pawn in Alonzo's scheme. But none of the time what his eyes like, yeah, you know what? Alonzo's right. I think this guy's pretty cool.
This guy needs to man up.
Never once did I ever think that. I'm like, This guy's a complete sociopathic, insane asshole who has completely lost his take on reality, and he's been in the job too long, and he's lied to himself to the point where he thinks he's the good guy still.
I guess I'm more susceptible to sociopaths then.
I think you're just susceptible to judgment, like persuasion in general. So
probably,
yeah, I think that's true. What do you think?
Yeah,
Okay, I just persuaded you right into that.
That's the joke.
Anything else you guys want to say before we put some grades on this? We're about time.
No, that's it.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, grades. Time for grades. We do A through F on this show. So go ahead and Joseph, what is your grade for Training Day?
I think I'm gonna give it an A minus.
A minus. All right.
A minus. I think if the ending was just a little better, a little bit more well thought out. I think if they focused more on the results of Hoyt's character as opposed to Alonzo's character, I feel like it would have been a little bit stronger. Because like after that point we shouldn't give a shit about Alonzo.
Sure.
Right? We should care more about Hoyt and his story. You know, like what and maybe more of a hint of what's the future to come for that. Is he gonna keep being a cop? Is he gonna continue being a narc? Is he gonna go back to being just a regular old copper? You know?
Training Day 2.
Yeah. But yeah, other than I think the whole movie has really great tension and like great conversations. Like their dynamic between the two of them is really good. Like the contrasting personalities are really great. I was kind of like not as good version of Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. And
True Detective.
Yeah, and two very different, tonally different things, but like character wise, and job wise, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar type of dynamics, very opposing personalities. But yeah, A minus. Enjoyed it quite a bit.
Beautiful. Tyler, what's your grade for Training Day?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on you, Joseph. I'm gonna give it an A minus as well. I think the ending really just did not land as well as how the whole movie was presented. I think how great the movie was with the dialogue between Ethan and Denzel. It should have landed a little bit more philosophically rather than just him getting shot up by Russians and then Ethan Hawke just kind of just goes home like after being beat up for 14 hours. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there should have been a little bit more closure. However, the performance definitely like carries the whole movie. And I think that if Tobey Maguire was in it, it would just not be a great movie. So yeah, really love this movie, and I want more. I want more of Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington in these characters.
You should try Harsh Times because Christian Bale plays another crooked cop, but in a slightly different, a very different capacity, and that's a brutal ass movie. Look through David Ayer's whole catalog. It's pretty. Yeah. I don't want to say it's pretty great, but there are some good stuff in there.
Movies like Before Sunrise, but they're cops.
But
they're just talking the whole time.
One day of talking.
I just wanted more, and so I love this movie, and you know, I was thinking about it too. Like, you can't even make a sequel for this movie. Like, there's no way you can make a successful sequel to this movie.
Come on.
Yeah, why not? You could follow Ethan Hawke, and now he's
Alonzo.
Yeah, he's the Alonzo. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's fighting Alonzo's on the force, and he's the voice of righteousness.
I thought about that, but it would take a genius level writing person to make that movie work.
And those don't exist.
Not really. Well, look at that. Someone on Team Tyler. There's a couple, but not much. But an A minus for me, and I'm so glad I watched this going in, one, cold, and two, well, actually, just one. I'm glad. Sorry, I thought I had a second reason, but I didn't. But I'm really glad I went into this cold. I hadn't seen one clip from this movie.
All right, cool. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I did like it.
Damn.
What was that?
What?
Why are you?
Wait, what did you give it, Tyler?
A minus.
Oh, okay.
Why are you hunting at me?
A B plus. This is an
it's
A
different.
movie.
It's different than my rating.
It's probably we're talking about like 2% difference here.
Yeah. It's very good.
Go ahead.
It's a very good movie, and a fantastic tension, really interesting characters. I mean, there's a lot. One of the things I like about this movie is that there's like a whole different like groups that get introduced to the story and then go away, and they're all really fun and interesting. Like Snoop Dogg was fun. His whole bit was fun. The whole Macy Gray scene was fun. There's the Mexican clique and the black clique and the douchebags at the restaurant. The like head older douchebags,
cops.
Yeah, it's like you get all these little vignettes of this whole universe that they're living in, and you're like, oh, that's not their universe. That's our universe. That's
how it is.
That's just life down there. So, and I'm sure that there's miniature versions of this speckled throughout the entire country, or more exaggerated versions of this speckled throughout the country. So, it's the prototype for me, the crooked LA cop story. And yeah, it's a very good movie. So, B+ for me.
Yeah. I didn't even mention like there's some like really cool like camera stuff, camera shots in this movie. Some great, just like kind of like establishing type shots. Shots you could pick like a frame out, like that would be in like framed or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So next is the Wheel of Destiny.
1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts. This is the Wheel of Destiny.
Okay, for new listeners, we have the Wheel of Destiny here. There's 8 slots, 3 hosts, such as this theme song says.
1 wheel.
1 wheel. And we all have picks on here. We have 2 picks each, and then the 2 empty slots are for fan picks, which this was a fan pick.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Appreciate you, buddy.
Wherever you are.
Some people don't listen like release week, so maybe he's still listening, but it just didn't catch this week. So, if you did, Scott, and you want to, after the fact, send us a message, or send us a little email or something. Just reply to my email. We'll read it on next week's episode, or the week after, or whatever.
Whenever you send.
Yeah. So I'm going to recap the wheel because nothing changes. The fan pick stays on there. We have Gerald's Game from Pete, Boogie Nights from Tyler, T2 Judgment Day from Pete, a fan pick, Before Sunset from Joseph, a fan pick, and In the Mood for Love from Joseph, and The Revenant from Tyler. So this will be the movie that we watch next week.
Oh gosh. Oh boy.
It's The Revenant from Tyler. Alejandro Iñárritu.
Leonardo DiCaprio's first Oscar
that's right.
award.
Yeah.
So let's see.
For Best Actor, I believe. Yep. Best Actor? Yeah.
I mean,
Best Director, maybe. Okay. Revenant on Just Watch. Let's see if this is streaming anywhere for free.
I don't think so.
No, you're going to have to rent it.
Yeah.
So why The Revenant, Tyler? You've never seen it before, right?
Yeah, it's been recommended to me a lot, as well as Boogie Nights too, which is why I put that on the wheel. And I've heard it was a really good movie. I disparaged The Revenant for a little bit just because like I didn't think it was gonna be a great movie, but you know what? I'm gonna give it a chance. And
you disparage a movie you've never even seen.
Yeah, that's right.
He tells us how much he loved movies that he hasn't seen either, so
okay,
it's par for the course.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I have a confession to make.
What's that?
Scott Fisher is me.
What? What the fuck? Scott Fisher is you? What does that mean?
Wait, you're the emailer?
Yes.
All right, we're not watching The Revenant next week because you've just broken the entire show. No. You had 3 movies in a row, and now this is 4 movies in a row.
So let me spin this yarn.
Okay,
let me tell this.
Dig yourself out of a hole because you're in a hole right now.
Oh, I'm not in a hole.
Oh, you're in my hole.
Oh,
wait a second.
No, I'm in your hole. Wait, hold on.
Hold on a second. Wait, which is the better one?
Okay, so we were having a dry spell of fan picks, and we were dwindling down the list. So I figured, yes, we were back in
that time, maybe.
Yeah, at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. So I figured I would put down a fake email and send in a fan pick.
God.
And I actually forgot about it until it got picked, and then I remembered.
So like when we announced it last week, you were like, "Oh yeah, that's me," right?
Well, on the show in your head, you were thinking, "Oh, that's me."
So like
Scott
when
Fisher.
it landed, like when we said, "Oh, it's training day," you're like in your head, you're like, "Oh, that's me."
Like it clicked. It was like a light that clicked on. I was like, "Oh my god!" I
On
forgot.
air.
I totally forgot about that because I was going to do this whole bit, like of having this fake persona, but I figured I'd just admit it to you guys.
So you didn't
right
even follow
here and now.
through with what you were gonna do.
No, I didn't. I couldn't think of anything. So I mean, if you want to spin the wheel again, because it was technically my pick.
Wait,
but
so
what? I'm
Okay,
sorry. I
so
thought it was gonna be. I thought this was gonna go a lot more smoother
I will say
than
though,
I thought this was gonna go a lot more smoother than it.
you could have just not said anything.
Oh, I mean, like,
I mean, we wouldn't know, obviously.
I just wasn't. I was just trying to be honest, Like,
no, it's good. I
I
applaud your honesty. I also deplore what you did.
I thought it was gonna be funny, but I guess
What will
I
our
guess
listeners
it is.
think?
I guess it isn't. According to
I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious.
I don't think you do. But like, okay,
You're hosting 4 episodes. Basically, you have 4 of your movies in a row that we're reviewing.
So what was no 3 of his movies?
No, it was Predators, The Predator, and then what was last week before? What was last week? Psycho, and Training Day.
And
The
then
Revenant.
if we do The Revenant, yeah. If
I mean,
just
it is what it is.
The wheel.
It is.
I thought it was.
I'm not spinning the wheel again. We're watching The Revenant next week.
Okay, fine. I just
you can never host again.
all right. I'll take that. I'll take that punishment. I don't know. I thought it was gonna.
No, it's fine.
I thought it was.
How about in the last 2.5 years that we've had to say, oh, we got 35. We talk about all the time, week after week, about how we have so many fan picks. Man, I really wish we could just get more fan picks out there. We got people who are dedicating themselves, listening to this show week after week, and they're waiting for their fan pick to get picked up, and then they go, oh, cool, someone from 2021 finally got their thing. Maybe mine will be next. And then it turns out it's fucking one of us? Is one of our movies the whole time?
The betrayal.
What do you think? What do you think those people whose movies are on the fan pick are thinking right now?
I guess it was just a.
I didn't think we could
I
get
thought
that
it
many
was
fans.
I thought it was gonna be a funny bit, but
it's funny. It's also depressing.
I don't like. This was like a year and a half ago where we were not getting fan picks, so I thought I would.
Yeah, sure. A year and you have a year and a half to say, you know what? Let's take that off now. We got plenty. Let's let the fans actually get what they want instead of just another one.
I honestly forgot that it was on there, so
that doesn't make it any better. All right, you guys. Anything else?
Any other confessions?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. All right, let's get out of here. Thank you everyone in Twitch land for watching our stream this week. We do this every 4th Saturday, so tune in or just subscribe to Twitch, Stab Comedy on Twitch, so you can be notified when we go live. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email at mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
Follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class.
And please follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class and leave us a voicemail, why don't you? At 209-730-6010.
All right, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Well, thanks for joining us for, I don't know, what sadly seems like the final episode of Middle Class Film Class. Thank you, guys. That is it for us for now, but we've got 2 more shows this evening, at reasonable times. 7 o'clock, guys. It's the Stab Halloween comedy show. Buddy and Corey and Roman Spinelli and friends. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get your Halloween night started with a little bit of stand-up first, or stay in maybe and watch more at 9 o'clock. It's strip comedy. It's what it sounds like. But don't stay in if you're in the area. Come on out, enjoy it with others. That's more fun. Either way, check out stabcomedytheater.com for the full calendar of events. We stream live improv, stand-up, sketch, podcast, gaming, and music streams 6 nights a week, more or less. Let's check out some folk remaining online audience. Where should we go? What's going on? You know what? How about just booty matchup? How about just some good old-fashioned booty matchup? They've got some stuff going on. Check them out. Hold on for the raid. See you back here at 7.